building the suspense.
Building the suspense. I think we're live. Let me see here. We got to give it a second. Sometimes old Rumble likes to drag its ass. I appreciate. There we go. I'm hearing myself. I appreciate what they're doing, the new tech, relatively censorship free, but my God, guys, get it to fucking together with your back end and fucking locals. So today I bought an annual sub to Predator Poachers.
Yes.
Got an annual sub. He discounted it for like 20 minutes to $45 for the year.
I missed that.
And they did like a random live stream and I just saw it and he's like, "Yep, it's like half off right now, dude." In his classic Alex Rosen style. I don't know, man. I might just take it away. I don't know how long I'm going to leave it up there for. I don't know. We're going to go catch this pervert. And then by the time I was like trying to get my credit card info, I got in like right at the last second. But locals is like a fucking nightmare to use. It hardly like works. It's not even functional most of the time. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Like God forbid you try to go back and watch a back episode.
Yeah, try to find something.
Oh God.
Do you like the infinite scroll? Like, because that's what you got to do. Because I don't even know if there's any really good search functionality in it. But anyways, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Goes to the Movies Live. I'm your host, Shaun. With me, as always, is my adopted son, Jeremy. And joining us tonight, once again, is my cousin brother, Dan Profitt. What's going on, boys?
Necromancer Z. I started listening to the Jahoo's Trip to the Future again, dude. That's how crazy
really?
shit's going.
Getting deep in the pocket. Well, it's been a couple years.
Yeah, actually, I think Jeremy needs to listen to that. I challenge Jeremy.
I have. Yep.
Jeremy listened to it. Jeremy listened to it on the back of our review.
Oh, really? What did you think of it?
Oh, I enjoyed it. It's actually having all the parts assembled together too. It's great for a long car ride to just kind of like listen to the whole thing. But just like the little spasms that Sam Hyde has, like just that he interjects, is just. It's golden. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, because he totally goes off book sometimes, and then or he just coughs and snorts, and they didn't.
Yeah.
They don't clean it up.
Yeah, chew in and yeah.
Oh, it's great. I love it. It adds so much texture to it.
Coughs and snorts in his videos and doesn't.
I don't know. Some guy I know. This guy in the NECA King. Just in case everybody doesn't know, the NECA King dropped a hot video. I'm gonna say it's probably top tier NECA King. Maybe his finest hour. He's got like graphics now. It's all coming together. There's memes in it.
Yeah, each one gets better than the last. I mean,
yeah.
I make them for people to watch them, Sean. I'll make them for people to listen to them. I make them for people to watch them. I'm like when George Lucas released the prequels and he wouldn't give it to your theater unless you had like a certain type of sound system. You know what I mean? I won't even send you guys the link until I know you got 10 minutes to watch it. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I had to. Actually, it ended up because we were late, so that's when I got to watch it.
Awesome.
Trembling says, I watched the black and chrome version of Fury Road today. It added much more to it than I thought. Well, that's going to be interesting. I actually watched that myself because I had never seen it before. But I don't know what's what's going on, guys.
Well, I was going to say, I think the video that it did for me to have Zoobox on my program at the time was your guys' Mad Max review.
Oh yeah,
years back. It was like one of those first because I think what I enjoyed the most was that it started turning into like a completely different sort of discussion. Like it didn't at a certain point you guys just like dropped the movie altogether, and I was like, oh man, keep this going. I could listen to like 3 hours of this.
As we are wont to do. That's why all Dan and I's podcasts Goes to the Movies are like 4 hours long.
Yeah.
I love doing them, and I also dread them deeply because I edit them, and I'm like, oh my God.
So I started taking
hear my own voice
out and doing live streams with Jeremy.
Doing live streams. I'm still now I just made more work for myself because I still do the other ones. I got one in the hopper right now.
Oh really?
Yeah, I'm editing one right now. For Cormac McCarthy's first ever or only produced screenplay. For The Counselor by Ridley Scott from 2014. Because Big Paul and I are getting into Cormac McCarthy this year. We're going to be reading all of his books and stuff. And so we're like, hey, we might as well check out the movie too. Trailing says, I've watched the 4-hour Day of the Dead stream twice. That is Kino. The Day of the Dead stream is Kino. And what I love about the Day of the Dead review is that it's the same review twice. We do 90 minutes, and then we do another 90 minutes talking all about the same things, but just a little deeper, though. Like, we just pull it back a little bit more because we're, like, getting a little sauced and, you know. It's a good one. It's a fun one. That's a fun time. It's a fun time. It's one of that is definitely up there for me. It's one of my favorites. Also, another, actually, just speaking of Dan and I, another good one is the our Starship Troopers one. I think that's one of my favorite ones. You got to get past the first 10 minutes because we had some audio issues and stuff. But if you've never watched our Starship Troopers conversation, it is the definitive Starship Troopers conversation. Okay.
Yeah.
It's about the book. It's about the movie. It's all good stuff. But yeah, well, without further ado, we're going to be doing kind of an experiment tonight. We're going to actually start with the review, and then we're going to kind of work towards other things. We're going to start with our Mad Max Fury Road review. Then we're going to hop into the one of the trailers for Furiosa, and then we're going to do a watch along of Mad Max fan film called Hope and Glory that just came out. Just came out like 3 days ago. I haven't watched it yet. But it's all in theme. It's all working together now. Because I believe Hope and Glory seems like they pull a lot aesthetically from this movie. Signal Intrusion says, love the Total Recall, which is relatively tight hour 45. Yeah. Our Total Recall review is a tight 1 hour and 45 minutes. Yes. I think actually the two shortest ones are like Mad Max maybe and Zatoichi, the Blind Swordsman. I think those are our two shortest ones. Although I can't even remember.
I think that Glengarry Glen Ross is a solid hour.
Yeah, that's an hour. That's the first one we ever did. Yeah. Yeah, that was a good one too. They're all good. Listen, they're all good, guys. Listen, if you go to Goes to the Movies, I mean, you're just in for a treat regardless.
Glengarry Glen Ross would be a good one to revisit with Jeremy for like 6 hours.
yeah, we'll do that. That's what we're going to do for our, I don't know, we got to pick a holiday or something, do a holiday stream. Actually, we could just watch it together, honestly.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
We could definitely do a future episode on just ranking the Goes to the Movies.
Actually, that's what we should do. That's what we should do. Whenever we like pull everything up and I'm like, I'm done, we're done. We're just going to rank. We're going to do a 24-hour live stream of just watching and ranking old Goes to the Movies episodes. Sometimes I go back just to see what I thought of things. I'll be honest with you. Like I went back today. I was like, I did a review of like Cabin Boy. I don't even remember what I thought of Cabin Boy. Trendling says the best Zoobox stream is Shaun and Paul watching Animal Passions. That is, I mean, that's Kino, dude. That's a classic. That's hard to top that. That whole stream is fucked, by the way, because it's all like it's bestiality, vegans, like furries, vor. It covers the whole spectrum. Trembling says Marigasms for everyone. Listen, that's a great. Like I think Profitt said that. It sounds like that's a great band name. Marigasms.
Yeah, Marigasms. Yeah.
Just the right
height, no bucket required.
Oh my God, I know. Every once in a while, I just remember that. I'll just hear that in my. Or the thing I hear the most is like he's like the souls actually touch. The two souls actually touch, and he does that when he's talking about coming in a horse.
He sounds like he's on a YouTube video that's at half speed. He's talking like this the whole time.
Yeah.
Are you putting that affect on for a show, or are you just does that soothe the horse while you're fucking it?
Yeah, he's like, well, he wants to present his butch, you know. He doesn't want anybody to think. He doesn't want anybody to think he's gay and get the wrong idea, you know.
Oh, yeah. He doesn't want the horse to get the wrong idea.
Yeah, exactly. The horse, his wife. Honestly, I could watch that again. That shit's crazy. I think there are 3 different versions of it already on Zoobox.
Well, fuck it. Let's do that. I mean, what did you say about Fury Road? Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy got in a fight. They did a lot of car crashes. Took 7 years to make, and they'll never do another one. Okay, boom. Fury Road's over. Let's watch Animal Passions.
Spool it up, boys. No, we're going to get into it a little bit. We will, though, in a future time, though, because I don't think, Dan, you've never watched that on stream. You've only been in the chat.
I've only obsessively watched the 3 different versions that you guys have done.
Yeah, because you got to go to the one. Big Paul and I did it. Then I did it by myself, like the first time. That was years and years ago. And then I did it with the original Zoobox Prime cast. And
Trainwreck.
yeah, Trainwreck. My cousin Michael, fucking like, what are you showing me? I don't even know if I want to watch this. I was like,
Yeah, he like loses it. And
I was like, we
pussies out.
agreed.
Those are also some of my favorites. Is just when people will just get into like heated arguments over this.
Well, that's like every episode, Jeremy. So you you could definitely dine out on that for a while. Big Paul says, "Animal, what? Let me in." Oh, you'll definitely be there. Maybe the four of us will do a fucking Animal Passion stream on one of like the watch along nights. But yeah, all right. Let's get the show on the road, everybody. Let's be professionals here. Mad Max Fury Road, everybody. I'm going to give you a little taste, a little flavor. Here's a TV spot from all the way back in 2015.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Say what you want about Mad Max Fury Road. I don't think it would be possible to cut like a bad trailer to that movie. I've never seen a bad trailer for it. All of the marketing was so exciting, like leading up to the movie coming out. I was so excited. Just watching that just reminded me how excited I was when this was coming out. We're going to be talking about 2015's Mad Max Fury Road. In a post-apocalyptic wasteland, a woman rebels against a tyrannical ruler in search of her homeland with the aid of a group of female prisoners, a psychotic worshiper, and a drifter named Max. It's directed by George Miller. It's written by George Miller, Brendan McCarthy, and Nick Lathuris. It stars Tom Hardy, Charlize Theron, Nicholas Hoult, Zoe Kravitz, Hugh Keys-Byrne, Josh Hellman, Abby Lee, Rosie Huntington Whitley, Riley Keough, and others. And we're off to the races, boys. So we'll start with you, Dan, since this was you offered this up. You offered this up. What's your personal history with Mad Max Fury Road?
Well, I offered it up first of all because this incredible film Furiosa is coming out, and I am so blown away by the trailers that look so genuine and so. I mean, it looks like a direct sequel to this. Like they put as much heart and soul into Furiosa as they put into Fury Road. So I'm excited. But recently I've been watching a lot because my son fucking loves it. And it's kind of thing where it can like, it sort of just makes it under the line as a family movie. Like there's nothing really bad in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can watch it with the kids around, and especially with a 4-year-old boy, he's just like, absolutely fucking over the moon for everything that's in the movie. He's like, "Oh, Papa, there's a car with a bunch of spikes on it and an excavator, and this and that, and this." And he asked me all these kind of questions about the cars and stuff. So I've seen Fury Road like a dozen times in the last month, and just watching it, I'm having all these old man emotions of like they're never gonna make a movie like this again, and I think that's evident in the fucking sequel or prequel or whatever it is. That
remains to be seen, but yeah, it does look like a cartoon. Yeah,
and I was just watching it, and just it's so easy to watch, man. Like every single frame in the movie looks good. It is what every other Mad Max movie wants to be. It takes all the elements that pull you into every other Mad Max movie. He has put into a highly digestible package in this movie, and it's like it seems like everything he wanted to do, and he finally had the budget to just iron it out and do it, and it's fucking perfect, man. And it'll never happen again, like, because I mean, even if George Miller went and just made a direct sequel to this kind of thing is like so lightning in a bottle. It just the sequel. Would the sequel even be able to stand up to it? You know what I mean? Like, it's just so well made. It's so easy to watch, and it's so digestible for everybody from a mainstream movie viewer to somebody who is really into filmmaking. It just, I feel like it's a movie that totally lives up to its hype in almost every way. And I would love to hear people nitpick it. You know what I mean? Because in my opinion, it's as close to like a perfect popcorn flick as there can be. You know?
Yeah, I hear you.
So I felt like a passionate moment when I was watching it. Like the moment where the war rig takes a breath, you know, where like the war rig is on fire.
Mhm.
They're throwing those gas bombs onto it, and then Furiosa hits the device that like kicks that grate down into the sand and blows sand up over the car and or the war rig, and the music is
Mhm.
rising to this heroic crescendo, and there's chaos everywhere, and then all of a sudden the dirt dissipates and it focuses on the turbocharger of the war rig, and it opens up and and it takes a breath, and like you realize at that moment the war rig is like a character in and of itself. And I like I was just watching it with a kid and I was like, it's just fucking good filming. It's like good
Mhm.
pork chops and applesauce filmmaking. And it's not even a thing like, oh, they don't make movies like that anymore. It's just like the Hollywood system doesn't even give a shit enough to
Well,
do a movie like that.
nobody makes movies like that unless it's like you're passionate. I mean,
Yeah.
well,
Right.
I'm sure
And-
we're going to get into this, but like this is a huge labor of love for George Miller and company. I mean, they were trying to make this movie for years, for a long
And that's
time,
why-
and they got like they were fully and ready to go twice before they
Right.
actually got to make it.
And that's why I say, like, even if they had gone and gotten their direct sequel, would they have been able to actually recapture the magic of this? Because it was such a passion project and so hard to do. And the process was such a grueling process for everybody. I don't know if you could recreate it, because it is one of those situations where it was almost like the process made the movie. You know?
Oh, 100% it did. Yeah, of course. I mean, the movie is imbued with the effort that was put forth to make it. Like you can feel it in its essence, and it's something that I do definitely appreciate about it. Jeremy, so when you were a young lad, Fury Road comes out. Are you excited? Are you into it, Jeremy? Were you there day one?
I was. I saw it in 3D back in
Hell yeah.
college when it came out. Couldn't get anybody else invested or interested in it and seeing
Really?
it with me. I was like,
Really? Seriously?
because nobody in my film school had watched Mad Max. Some had heard of it, but they'd seen like clips and things, but
These
they
kids.
Nobody in your film school had heard of Mad Max?
Yeah, hold
No,
on a second.
yeah.
Maybe all your friends were gay. I don't usually use the soundboard for this show, but it had to be done. When you say gay, you have to play a Crowder sound.
Right.
So
And then come a second viewing of it, like not like a week later, I was able to finally get some people Fury Road pilled, and it became an overnight sensation then for all of my stupid college friends. So,
well, I can't even imagine. I mean, dude, you guys were what, like 19, 20 years old when it came out?
I can't remember, something like that. Yeah,
I mean, that's like it's like a perfect age for something like that, in my opinion.
yeah.
Honestly. I was really stoked for it. I had been a fan of Mad Max, leading up to it, mostly just the Road Warrior, honestly. Like that was kind of the Mad Max movie that I grew up with. And I was totally into it, even though I kind of also had a lot of reservations about it because it has a very storied production history, and all of the notices, all of the reporting about it through production and post-production were all negative. They were all bad. They're talking about how all the difficulty of it, the actors weren't happy, some of them kind of semi-publicly talking about that they didn't really like their experience working on it. But even with that, I remember my wife and I, we were so excited for it. Like, and this is a time of like, I was like 25 or 26, fucking no money. I think we had like $40 in the bank. And we plopped down the money for a Thursday night showing in 3D for both of us. That's how committed we were to the cause. But yeah, a lot of my feelings about it, though, I definitely echo the sentiment, a lot of the same sentiments that Dan was talking about. In terms, I do think like it is a masterpiece, whether you like it or not. I think whether it appeals to your tastes or whatever, I think on an objective level, it's hard to argue that it's not like kind of a perfectly executed piece of what it wants to be. And for me, as a person that talks and critiques movies, that's my ultimate judgment. It doesn't really matter so much if I liked it, but is the movie actually doing what it's setting out to do? And I think Mad Max Fury Road does it in spades. I have a few criticisms here and there of it.
Yeah.
Of course, and I'm sure we're going to get into all that stuff, but yeah, I'm very ready for this conversation. I feel like I've been watching Fury Road pretty consistently for years. So it was nice to revisit it, and it'll be fun to have an excuse to talk about it with some good pals. But I don't know. Let's start with the pre-production. The pre-production. Do you guys know kind of the story of the pre-production of how long it took them to make this?
I think
It's
they're
like 8 years or something.
Because wasn't their first attempt. They were supposed to have like a 2003 release of this or something like.
Yeah. So what
back with
happened?
Mel Gibson.
Yeah. So basically, from like 1995, George Miller starts coming up with the idea, starts making sketches. Some of those sketches are still the same ones that they actually used for storyboards when they actually made the movie. So he's able to get a bunch of money together. He gets Mel Gibson back on board. Mel Gibson is has like a deal with like 20th Century Fox, so they're going to pick up the movie because it's like their Mel Gibson project. And of course, like who doesn't want to put out the next Mad Max movie with Mel Gibson, right? So they did everything. They went out to where they actually ended up shooting it in 2011, Namibia. They went out there, built everything, built all the cars, all the rigs, the Citadel, everything. And then 9/11 happened, and the value of the dollar plummeted, and they lost like 25 to 40% of their budget within a day. And they couldn't make the movie with the money that they had. So George Miller literally had to call the people as like people are getting ready, the crew's crewing up, they're about to fly to Namibia, and he has to call everybody and be like, stop fucking spending money. This is not our money. we're not going to be able to do this. And to add insult to injury, not only did they not get to make the movie, they had to physically disassemble everything they had spent like 2 years building, like all the cars and stuff. They had to take like torches and cut them into pieces. They didn't even bother trying to save them. They just left a pile of junk out in the desert, I guess. But that was the first attempt. And then again in 2008 to 2011, they have another version of the movie that's being mounted. They're going to shoot it in Australia in the same place they shot The Road Warrior. Guess what happens? Historic flooding in Australia. The desert turned green. So there was just flowers and greenery everywhere, and they waited like a month to see if everything would die. It didn't. So they ended up heading back to Namibia and finally getting the project underway. So it was definitely, like I said, it's a labor of love. Like he really had to want to make this movie in a big bad way, because to get that close twice and then be stopped, once by terrorism and the other time by nature, that shows some fortitude. That shows some gusto. But hey, we got Happy Feet because he didn't get to make it back in the day. He went and made Happy Feet because that's how George Miller rolls, you know? Very eclectic filmmaker.
Yeah, we get Babe, Pig in the City, and Lorenzo's Oil in the process.
Oh, he's made Lorenzo's Oil. I forgot about that. Yeah. I really like George Miller's filmography. I just like, because you can literally just watch the trajectory of his style as a director just evolving over time, and like where he's pulling his influences from. He's a guy that definitely like learns from experience. He takes those experiences with him onto the next project, and it kind of informs the next project. And he's very cool like that. I've always enjoyed that about George Miller. But anyways, so let's get into the movie itself. So now we're here at Mad Max Fury Road. It's been made. It's put out. Dan already kind of went into a little bit of his soliloquy about his feelings about it and why he feels it's so powerful. But
yeah, you asked me what my history with the movie was, and I went on a completely different tangent.
Yeah, I know you did. What did you see it when it came out?
Well, not really, because I was living in Santa Fe, and I was in this like sort of freewheeling, like whatever, bro, kind of moment in life where. Like I'd go to see a random movie in the theater, like I think I saw Deadpool in the theater or something, and The Witch, like, but I didn't see Fury Road, even though I was a huge Mad Max fan.
Yeah.
and didn't see it in the theater, but I saw it as soon as it came out on DVD, and I was like, why? As soon as I saw it on DVD, I was like, why the fuck didn't I watch this while it was in the theater? Because I'd been kind of waiting for it, but I was in a period of my life where I was just like letting things come to me, and it just didn't come to me while it was in the theater. You know what I mean? But from the moment I saw it, it was just like, this is a statement. It's like Terminator 2 or fucking Casino or something. Like, this is going to be in heavy rotation forever, and it has been. It's like it's like when you watch
Can you hear me?
Batman versus Superman like 3 or 4 times a year.
Wait, hold on. Everybody stop. Freeze. If you can't, you may freeze anyways. Connection is unstable.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, I think we're coming back. We're coming back, everybody. Good old fucking Xfinity Comcast, you know? Never works when you want it to. Sorry, Dan. Could you please repeat like the last like third of what you said?
Oh geez. I was just saying that like, so I didn't like catch it in the theater because I was kind of like living like a lackadaisical lifestyle or whatever. I didn't even kind of came and went in the theater for me, but it was out on DVD like immediately because I remember watching it over the summer that year.
Yeah.
And just being like, holy shit, I can't believe I missed this in the theater. Like, why didn't I go see this while it was out? I was too busy, I don't know, playing Xbox or something. I don't even know what I was doing in Santa Fe. I was like literally just like hanging out.
You were just like, you know, going on a spirit journey, a walkabout.
Yeah. But like, you know, I'd been a huge fan of Mad Max since I saw The Road Warrior when I lived in Boston. And I kind of like fell into the normal category of where people fall into Mad Max appreciation, where it's like, obviously The Road Warrior is the best one. And I have you know, you have to kind of develop a certain kind of love for the first one or you're not going to like it because it's just too,
it's very
much,
it's very indie, very Australian.
Yeah. And of course the third one, you know, it's easy to both love and hate the third one with like Tina Turner walking around and fucking, there's a lot of iconic shit in the third one. And that's why I feel like this one is where everything really comes to fruition, because it feels like the third one was reaching for something like this, but the studio, you know, and probably Miller wasn't ready at the time to create something like this. I mean, was the technology even there in the mid 80s to pull off something like Fury Road practically? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you do
just
start
on
to
the
see the
scale
needles.
that they do it, you know?
Yeah. I was gonna say in Thunderdome, you do start to see the needles and threads of that train chase sequence, leading into Fury Road, and just like that whole look. They seem to really have a thing for the desert and kind of capturing this like the high stakes but like warmness of it, you know.
And I think a lot of it also is his kind of preoccupation at this time. He started getting into like fairy tales, storybooks. Because Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome has kind of a fairy tale vibe to it. It almost, you know, you guys have seen Hook.
Yeah.
It kind of feels a lot like Hook, even though it's years before Hook, but it has that same vibe, that same almost film texture to it, like that soft glow to everything. And then because he ends up making,
when you say it, it's perfect. It totally makes sense.
Because after this, he does like, you know, The Witches of Eastwick.
Yeah.
You know? And then a few years later, he's doing Babe Pig in the City and then Happy Feet. Like you could actually watch like his interests, like where his interests start to change again. You know, he seems like a guy, I think he was just like a dude. He's like, well, I just kind of grew up and I had a family and I have like kids and grandkids and now I'm making kids movies because that's who I want to make movies for.
I was gonna say by that point too, like with that third film, like he really gets more into the whimsical charm of things. He's more family oriented. There's like a lot more gags and like
it's
slapstick,
PG-13.
and it's PG-13. Yeah.
It's got a very different flavor. You have to kind of go and take it on its own terms. I don't think it's like a bad movie. Maybe a little boring, because it's just more about like the ideas rather than like anything specific to like kind of hook you into anything. It's more of just about like, well, let's just spend some time in this world right now. And and it meanders a lot, which is weird. It's a weird feeling for a Mad Max movie, especially coming off of Road Warrior, which is like 90 minutes. It's a fucking perfect. It's like, again, just like Fury Road. I think the Road Warrior is still my favorite one, and I watched them almost back to back yesterday. I mean, my God, The Road Warrior is so fucking good. It's like a miracle of a movie. I don't even know how they pulled it off, honestly. Especially with the budget. It came out in like 1981 and they're doing all these crazy shots. Like, there's just something special about that movie. I think that is almost like untouchable to me. And I'm sure nostalgia plays a little bit into that. But, dude, after watching it last night, I was like, wow, just kind of blown away by it. But yeah, that's kind of an interesting thing about Miller. And I think like, once we get to Fury Road, the look, style, and feel of the movie actually makes a lot of sense. Like, this is kind of where he is aesthetically in his career at this point. And that's what he wanted to explore. But he's exploring something kind of like in the same way that he did with Thunderdome that's kind of completely separate from the other Mad Max movies in the sense because he wanted to examine like gender politics in the wasteland a little bit. And there's no, hey, listen, the woman who wrote the vagina monologues was a fucking consultant on this movie. Yes. She spent time with the actresses so that they could know what female friendships are really like. I shit you not.
That's why I'm saying that the Furiosa thing came out of this because you know that George Miller didn't want to fucking do Furiosa. He wanted to do another Mad Max movie, but the studio was like,
I disagree.
I don't think that, because here's what it is. I think that you're thinking of it now in 2024 when we have some runway between us and the feminist tidal wave of like 2014 to 2019. This production, like the Furiosa production, came right off of Fury Road. So
well, I think it gets greenlit because of those circumstances. But I do think that because actually Mad Max Fury Road was not a juggernaut hit. It like didn't make $1 billion or anything like that. It was kind of it did okay in kind of a modest way. But I think because of the political climate, that's why Furiosa gets made. But George Miller is completely locked into Furiosa. I mean, Furiosa is not a side character. She actually shares a title with Tom Hardy in the beginning of the movie. Their names come up at the same time. Tom Hardy as Mad Max, Charlize Theron as Imperator Furiosa. Like, so he's right away is kind of making a statement, and all of the subtext using kind of mother's milk and keeping women as property.
You think that he was really like, we got to tell this Furiosa movie, man. We got to tell a story.
Honestly, I really do, because you know why, Dan? And I'm gonna make it make sense for you. He's an Australian boomer that's a rich guy. Those people are completely out of fucking touch with reality, and he's like, this is a very interesting thing to explore. Yeah. Really got to start thinking about these women.
Told the story of Max plenty of times. Why don't you know Max?
I mean, Max and the guys, they kind of destroyed the world, mate.
Maybe it's a character.
Maybe it's the women's turn now. Maybe
they destroyed the world. It's like, yeah, like you dumb bitches wouldn't destroy the world if you weren't at the levers of power too.
Yeah, I know. Instead of doing a prequel to Furiosa, show us 20 years in the future when she's fucked everything up. When it's exactly the same society, the same result ends up happening. She's like, well, people need milk. Yeah, sure, they milk, but it's voluntary though. It's different, guys. It's different. It's voluntary. Oh, we don't have unlimited water that we can just give to people whenever. Oh shit. Well, I guess I'll have to ration this somehow.
But this like feminine breaking apart, breaking away. This like woman out in the world breaking away from the patriarchy and learning her like that fucking Poor Things.
Yeah. Oh, that movie's awful, dude.
It's not
everybody
good.
made such a racket about that, and then I watched the preview for it, and I was fucking mind numbed. Like
dude, you don't even know.
Cliche, every single checkbox is like, oh, she's out in the world and she's learning, and these stupid men want to control her, and they're all dumb, and she breaks away from that stodgy old white guy and finds something else to get with, and she expands her mind, and it's like, God, how many fucking times can we tell eat, pray, love over and over again? Like, how empowered do women need to be?
Well, this is kind of the eat, pray, love of the Mad Max series.
It is.
Say that.
Like eat, pray, love of the wasteland.
But like I said, like if things like this are done well, you don't care. You don't care that the subtext is kind of fucked. Like, you really don't. I mean, I will say this, in George Miller's defense, it does have kind of a more egalitarian message at the end where it's like, You know, because Furiosa is going to an all-women tribe out somewhere in the Greens somewhere. That's where she thinks she's going to be with her women. And then what they realize is like, no, we actually can't do that. Like, we have a responsibility, and the only way we're going to do this is if we're all doing it together. Like, it's a very kind of almost like saccharine, corny message at the end of the movie.
But it works, and it's real. It's real. It's like
it is.
Men and women do need each other. Okay, like and then the prequel Furiosa shits all over it because not only does it look like it was made in a goddamn AI computer, but also you have fucking 5 foot tall 7 Anna Joy, whatever her name is, like body slamming dudes who are 300 pounds and shit.
Hey, watch it, buddy.
Come the fuck on. I will say one thing about the action sequences having to do with Furiosa. She gets the shit kicked out of her like over.
She does
over and over again.
It's because she's the Mad Max character.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, she is the protagonist of the movie.
But I will say that they don't lean too hard into the like Scarlett Johansson Black Widow like flipping over people.
No, because I mean, even the fight she has with Tom Hardy, the first one when he's still got the chain on, you know.
Yeah, she's like well outmatched the whole time.
She is. Yeah. No, I think they're more realistic than most of the time in these kinds of movies, for sure.
Or like at the end when the dude kicks her in the chest. Like, that's such a tough moment, dude. Like, she just gets the shit kicked out of her. She
does. And Charlize Theron, however disgusting I think she is as a regular person, she's a child abuser. She's a very good actress. And she kills it. You know who she looks like? I don't know if you guys will. Dan, you might get this reference. I don't know if you will, Jeremy. You know who Karen Strawn is? The men's rights activist. She used to go by the internet handle Girl Writes What. And she's from Canada. And she looks exactly like Charlize Theron in Fury Road.
Did you have a documentary some time ago, or
she was in the Red Pill, taking the Red Pill or whatever? That one where that feminist chick decided to explore the Red Pill and then got red pilled as a consequence of it.
Right.
Talking about regenerating foreskins and stuff, you know, just cool guy stuff, you know.
God, I wish.
What do you? 45-year-old men like trying to get those fucking things that stretch their skin over their penis. It's like, what are you guys doing? I mean, if you feel bad about it, I'm sorry, but just accept it and move the fuck on. Nobody asked me. I was like, you sound like an antinatalist. No, you don't get asked when you're fucking just born. You don't get asked. You die if we asked you.
What a completely different Fury Road we would have had if she was the consultant. Yeah.
Oh, Karen Strawn. Yeah, she would have been like, no, fuck these bitches. All of them need to die.
Yeah.
She's like, they need to die. Max needs to be the king. King Mad Max. Well, at least he's a good feminist ally, you know? Because there's a lot of points where he's like shakes her hand and he's like, we need to go together.
There's actually a great there's a great metaphor allegory for antinatalism. I was going to turn it into an edit and tag all the antinatalists that are on YouTube on it. When Max is talking to him at the end and he's like, you know, if you drive in that direction, there's going to be nothing but salt. But if we go back that way, we can find some redemption together. And like, I want in the edit, when he points off into the distance, I was just going to put antinatalism on the horizon. Drive in that direction, there's nothing but salt.
It's true. Listen, it's true. You got to go back with Max and have babies. It's the way it goes. So what do you guys think of, like, we were just kind of circling around the performances. What do you guys think of Tom Hardy replacing Mel Gibson?
I can't not love Tom Hardy. I
like Tom Hardy.
Knocks it out of the park all the time. And he doesn't try to do a Mel Gibson. He does his own thing.
I was going to say, it's a different kind of performance.
Yeah.
Because he's a feral kid, dude. He's not Max.
I was just going to say that, yeah. That's why he's different, dude. That's why he's, you know, the Road Warrior ends with the voiceover of the feral kid, and this movie begins with his voiceover. What were you saying, Jeremy?
Oh, I was going to say, I especially love Tom Hardy in the first third of the film when he's just like ultra pissed off. They got his car. And
dude, the opening 20 minutes of Fury Road fucking rip. It is. Like, just on its own, I would just watch that and not watch the rest of the movie. Even though it's got more impressive stunts and stuff, there's just something about the energy and the texture and like this mean spirited, the dread of it all, like with that junkie XL, like bomb, bomb, and it's just everything's foreboding and fucked up, and it's awesome.
The cutest thing happened when we were watching it the other day. At the beginning, my daughter is 1.5 years old, and when that Junkie XL score went on, she started going wah wah wah.
That's awesome.
Fucking hilarious.
That's something Foster would do. He's like, you hear that? Dad? Isn't that awesome? Wah. Yeah. No, I like his performance in this, and I agree with you guys. I think that he largely does his own thing. I don't know if that's really his intention. Famously, like, he had no fucking clue what was going on. So much so that he actually apologized to George Miller right after he saw it for the first time, because they shot it in 2011. I think they came back and maybe did a few pickups here and there, did a little ADR in between. But so there was like 4 years in between, like, the experience of making it and seeing it, and he didn't have a good time making it. Mostly because he was really hypercritical of George Miller. He's like, he wouldn't fucking explain anything. I had no idea what was going on, because the movie is all just little shots. Like, this is not like an actor's paradise here. You're not out there just doing like a 3-page monologue and just letting it go. Like, no, like, you need very specific reactions for very specific things. It's probably a very tedious movie to make. And he apologized to him. It premiered at Cannes, and they're doing the panel into the Q&A that they always do after they premiere movies. And he's just like, I just have to apologize to Mr. Miller. He's like, I had no idea what you were doing, and I was kind of an asshole. And now that I've seen it, I can't even, I'm so sorry. He's like, I can't even imagine. And he and Charlize Theron also did not get along, apparently, like, at all.
Yeah, I can see that.
Apparently, she said he showed up 3 hours late to set one day, and she said, "Find that motherfucker $100,000 for every minute he kept this crew waiting," and he like lunged at her. And from that, and then she pulled like the peak feminist maneuver where she like demanded to have a bodyguard on set at all times, so Tom Hardy couldn't like fucking lose his shit on her.
That's hilarious. I didn't know about that she actually had a bodyguard. Which it seems so perfect.
The scenes Fury Road stuff today. 20 things you didn't know about Fury Road.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, the 40 things, that guy who does all like the Easter egg videos. I think the channel's called like The Breakdown or something. He's like, "Hey, how's it going, everybody? You ready to go to the wasteland?" But
I hate all those videos. I can't believe they're still making them in that tone, and
people still watch them. That's why.
And still watch them.
Or I hate when I'm watching a video like that and I get like a minute 40 into it and all of a sudden realize I'm listening to AI. God damn it.
That's what happens when you're trying to look for that Diddy information, Dan. That they're all Seriously. AI videos. Trembling says in the chat, the War Boys putting the things over Max's face and dragging him back into the Citadel right before the title hit is so good at setting the tone. It really is. No, it's a...
Especially because you have the one War Boy looking right into the camera going like... You notice that guy?
Yeah, but also that intro could have been like the most perfect trailer as well. And
the last theatrical trailer they put out for this movie is so fucking good. I used to write a blog at the time. I actually wrote a blog. I was like, even if this movie sucks, like, that trailer is awesome. Like, I'll just watch that trailer because it's so propulsive, and the music with the strings, it's so awesome.
And then
so
the
perfectly
full flex of having like Max make an escape in his iconic car right at the beginning of the movie, and then just fucking crashing the car,
which is a perfect Mad Maxism.
Yeah.
Anytime he's about to escape or go away or kind of ignore his responsibilities, he gets in a car accident. Yeah. Same thing happens, because it's literally the same thing happens in The Road Warrior.
And also, it's kind of like a message to the audience, like, this is not going to be as easy. You know, this isn't going to be a fucking walk in the park. Like, we're going to take everything from Max right at the beginning. And then, of course, you know, the famous line was like, "What more can they take from me? They got my blood, now they took my car." And it's like, well, wait until they release Furiosa and they take your entire franchise from you, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
I said that in the Zoobox chat, but I had to give it to the audience too.
Let me see here. What did you guys think of, Charlize Theron?
Strong.
Powerful.
Brave.
Brave, steady. steady as she goes.
I just don't think I don't know what Max would have done without that rock there. You know,
I mean, I think she's kind of perfectly cast for something like this because she does have like a very expressive face. She's actually very similar to Mel Gibson in that way. The one criticism I'll have of Tom Hardy versus Mel Gibson, because listen, if I had my way, it would have been Mel Gibson. I would not have cast Tom Hardy. But as a runner-up, he's great. But he has the same kind of expressive face, the way he can communicate pain and emotion because he's so kind of over the top with it, but it usually just kind of works because of the way the scenes are constructed. Do you know what I mean? Like you have the Mel Gibson pain face.
yes,
Yeah, there's
I mean, he does it all the time.
but I here's my one criticism of Charlize Theron. You're such a fucking great actress. You could have at least took a swing at an Australian accent.
Yes. Actually, one of my big criticisms of the movie is that none of the main cast are Australian, except for the bad guy, except for Immortan Joe. That kind of bums me out because when I rewatched The Road Warrior right after, I was like, man, like Australians just bring a different energy. There's just a different texture and different quality to them. Like even the good guys are wild. You know, there's just something crazed behind their eyes. Like no matter who they are, they're always willing to just get in a fight.
Hear me out. Hear me out. Instead of casting Tom Hardy, what if they got Durian Rider?
Dude, yes.
We
need to make this happen. Be like, George.
Yeah.
Wasn't Tom kind of difficult to work with? Now I have another I have another narcissist for you. He goes by Durian Rider. His real name's Ashley.
Except this narcissist has a ton of energy, and he probably won't show. He'll probably show up 3 hours early and just like bicycle around the war rig until everybody else shows up.
Well, he does kind of act and look like a war boy sometimes, like when he shaves his head.
Yeah,
Well, he is a little sugar in the wasteland.
Yeah, exactly. Sugar, mate.
Yeah, it's like instead of
oil, instead of gasoline.
I was gonna say, like at the end of the Road Warrior, when the sand is pouring out of the tank, it's actually just sugar, mate.
Sugar. Oh, they
Sticks.
think this is a decoy. Now this is the jackpot, mate. That's why I agreed to ride it. That's why I agreed to do the drive. Thought it was worth the risk. Trebling says she's the only one that could have done this part, in my opinion. She has the big expressive eyes. She always does good physicality shit too. And her in this and Atomic Blonde. Yeah, no, I think that's kind of what sells the movie for her, or sells that character, is her physicality.
Well, hold on, I'm sorry to keep taking it further, but instead of at the chase at the end, instead of him pulling the tanker with an 18-wheeler, it's just Durian Rider on his bike. And
it has to be a bike.
Tanker strapped to his bike, and he's biking along as fast as he can, dude.
So, well, something like that would probably be appropriate in the upcoming Furiosa. Something very goofy like that.
I have nothing to say. You're being so charitable with it. We don't know yet. Shaun, we know.
Well, listen, I want to get George Miller. He pulled some shit out with Mad Max Fury Road. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. Like, I don't know if I'll go rush to see it in the theater, but I will watch it. Like, I am going to see it. Although I saw the runtime is 2.5 hours. I was like, why is a Mad Max anything 2.5 hours? But
and like one of the main tenets of Fury Road is he said, everything has to adhere to gravity. Like everything has to have some kind of weight. Things can't defy gravity. And then the first thing you see in the Furiosa trailer is like some car bursting over a sand dune, and it looks like fucking Cruella de Vil's car in the 101 Dalmatians. It doesn't adhere to any true physics. It's just like fucking busting around in the sand.
Well, he's taking what he started here, and he's taking it further, kind of like he has with everything else he's done. Honestly, one of the negative things about Mad Max Fury Road when it comes to the stunts is that to me they're just not as impressive as like the Road Warrior, because you can tell that it's just much more like safely constructed. It's much more choreographed in a weird way. Whereas the Road Warrior really feels like a fucking, like they're just out there smashing cars. I know that they were taking precautions and doing what they had to do, but also at the time, they used to just like pay some of the crew members in beer. Like they were wild, dude. 1981 out in Australia in the middle of fucking nowhere. Like,
don't tell Judith Hogue anything about that. She'll come off the set.
Yeah, she'll be like, listen, these standards, you guys.
Well,
God damn it, George.
Shot in the Road Warrior where the dude fucking flies across the screen. And didn't he break his back or his leg when he actually did that? Like,
He got
Yeah.
injured or something. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's doing that thing where he's like flying towards the camera, and his leg clipped the car. So it
yes,
was like, and then his body just started tumbling like that. It's the shot that's in the movie. They put it.
yeah.
In the movie.
You can't actually recreate a shot like that safely because like his body
No.
tumbling is tumbling in a completely unsafe way, obviously, because things got fucked up and he got injured. But you can't do that with CG because it looks goofy. You can't do that on like a 100% safe set because it's too constricted.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, it's like, God, what
Well,
kind of movie do you want to make?
I mean, you really couldn't make something like the Road Warrior anymore. Like, you just couldn't do it because of our standards are so much higher now. Like,
Well, it's the libs.
it's the libs, dude. They're ruining Hollywood. Even Australia Hollywood. They've ruined it. They've wrecked it.
Fucking Obama.
I don't know, Jeremy. What do you think of? What do you think? What did you think of Charlize Theron?
I think she's pretty good in the role. I mean, I like the little touches of, smearing things over, like basically her own like version of war paint, pretty much, and
yeah.
kind of like standing out. Honestly, like even just like the whole cast has so much. Even the supporting players, they just have so much texture to them,
character to him. Yeah,
and I think that's another issue I have with Furiosa is that its existence just kind of goes against what George Miller is already good at, is having characters that clearly do have a backstory and have something interesting going for them, but not explaining that and not
Yes.
going too in depth with that.
Well, that was one of my biggest things when they announced it. I'm like, why? I already know. Like, I
Yeah.
already know what happened to her. Like, because they give you enough information in Fury Road, and this is the culmination of her story. This is the important part. Like, this is the exciting part. So, what are we going to watch her like rise to become a hero again? Like from earlier? Isn't that kind of defeating the point? Unless, this is what I'll say. Maybe we just don't know. Maybe it's a much darker film than we're expecting it to be in terms of like kind of tone and theme.
I will say that I always have to recreate things as bedtime stories. And after watching this a bunch, my son he wasn't asking about do Mad Max as a bedtime story. He kept asking me, tell me about Furiosa when she was a little girl. He literally was asking me that.
Yeah.
He literally made me tell him like the plot of Furiosa, and I was like, buddy, they haven't made that movie yet. Like, I don't know what happened to her. I can just tell you what you already know from that movie. And he's like, well, tell me like what happened to her. So like it is a compelling story, but like you said, like how much more meat is left on the bone? Like the story is told and wrapped up as a subplot or a tributary to the plot of Fury Road. So
Yes.
cracking it open and actually watching, apparently the fucking thing takes place over 15 years. Like this is going to be,
This is like an epic.
yeah, like,
Okay.
and perhaps it'll just be like her as a little girl and then smash cut to her as an adult or whatever. But it just seems so fucking tedious and unnecessary. And on top of that, the dude's like 82 years old now. He's not going to make another Mad Max movie. He's
on the press tour right now, and he's like, I got another idea, and I'm like, dude, you're 79. Although, Ridley Scott, he's like fucking 86. He's still out there. He made Napoleon last year. You don't give a
Ridley
fuck.
Scott's a fucking Chad. Look at George Miller. Like you
He
said,
made like 2 films a year. Yeah.
He's a pasty boomer.
Ridley Scott still got it, dude. Like when I took my son to see Alien in the theater, and they had like a little preview of the new one that's coming out this summer, and the director was talking to Ridley Scott, and he still got it, man. He's sharp. He's funny. Like he knows his shit. He doesn't pull punches, because he's so old. They just don't care anymore, so they just spill the beans about everything. They just tell you exactly how they feel about everything. Brian Cox has been doing that for years. The actor Brian Cox. Every time he's interviewed, he'll just talk shit about somebody that he's just worked with or that he works with or something. Because he was on that show Succession, and Jeremy Strong apparently went method and wouldn't come out of character, and he's like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "Just act, dude."
That's got to be so fucking annoying when you've got somebody like you're at the craft table, like getting ranch dip and carrots, and this fucking guy is like acting like some long dead person, or like the most obnoxious example of it, Jim Carrey on the
Jim
set of
Carrey.
Food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Every bit of footage of the actors around him trying to talk about what he's doing without stepping on his toes, and you
Yeah.
can tell that they all fucking hate it.
It's all diva shit. Like it was
Yeah.
it was absurd. And I think he was kind of selective about it. I think that's part of like it's like a legend built up. It was almost like a marketing thing, I feel like, in some ways. But there's stories of people meeting him and him refusing to come out of character and shit like that. I guess because the Farrelly brothers were supposed to make a Three Stooges movie like years ago. They ended up making one in like 2010 or whatever. But he was going to be Curly, the fat guy. So he gained a bunch of weight and he stayed in character before they started making the movie, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I think he's just kind of crazy, honestly. I think he's just a little out there.
Yeah. But then, like,
Century.
when you have a situation like on the set of Fury Road, where, like, you know, it's an 8 o'clock call, and the actors are sitting there in the desert for 3 hours baking in the morning sun, and then Tom Hardy just like strolls up and is like, "All right, I'm ready to shoot." So who the fuck are you, Axl Rose? Like, you're not actually Bane, dude.
Well, especially from back then, 2011. Yeah, he would have shot this around the time he shot Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
I think maybe he did that right after this or right before it. No, it must have been after.
Right after, yeah.
Because he got so bulked up, yeah.
Yeah.
But,
And it's like,
you-
where does that fucking come from? Like, I would be so afraid that I was going to get fired. Like,
He
He
might
just
have wanted
guessed-
to get fired.
maybe. Well, I guess, yeah, he probably, because, yeah, like you said, he didn't know what the fuck he was doing.
No, he was like, it's like he really did not have a good time making that movie. Like he really, and he was a dick about it.
But on the opposite side, I think Hugh Keays-Byrne as Edmonton Joe gives off like the most
Yes.
humble, I really love being here sort of energy.
Well, he's
it's
like, because
almost-
he's like, yeah, he's like a humble Australian character actor, like a
Yeah.
normal human being. Like those are the only actors that ever come off as like normal people,
Right.
are kind of day player character actors. And he fucking kills it. It's the role. I mean, and this is the same guy who played Toe Cutter in the original Mad Max, and he was great in that too.
Some of his line readings are just so. He puts them in a way that you wouldn't expect. Like, he creates a character who is curious, and he's not just like an evil warlord madman. He is. I don't want to say he's considerate, but like,
He loves these girls. Okay.
well, no, there's a tone in his voice where like.
he gets emotional a lot.
Yeah,
does,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Or like for some reason, one of the line readings I love is like when he's like, he's looking through the telescope and he's like, "Where do you think they're going right now?" You know what I mean? Like,
Actually, I love that fucking line reading. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but I literally say it out loud while he says it whenever I watch it.
yeah, like the
Why
way
is she
he
taking that
it
route?
is
Yeah.
so like I don't know. Like
Well, I think they've tapped into something with his character that there's a childlike quality to those guys, like the War Boys. They're all kind of impulsive and immature and emotionally inert, and they don't like. And he actually like loves. I think he actually, in his own fucked up way, like loves his people.
yeah,
Like
Yep.
loves his situation, you know, and he thinks this is just what you do. This is what we're doing. And yeah, and it comes through in the performance. And I think that to me, I've never heard anybody say that, but that's kind of what I was thinking when thinking about his character and just thinking about the world, the War Boys, how they all act, you know, because they're all kind of his children in one way or another.
yeah. It's like they've all got Peter Pan syndrome, but he's the Rufio. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
he's a little
exactly.
boy too, but he's the ringleader, and he. Yeah, I never really thought about that. I was trying to figure out what the quality of his voice that was different was, because he's not just like a mean, evil incarnate. He's got this quality that I think you hit the nail on the head. It's kind of like little boyish.
Well, he doesn't ever think that she would betray him, I think. Like, it's just like, where is she going? What?
Yeah.
Like, what's
And-
happening? Maybe even a little hint of concern in there. Like,
Yeah. And I will say this, like, there are moments where, like for example, when Furiosa is taking the war rig off the path, and it is becoming clear to her team that things aren't, like, something is going on here,
yeah.
but they don't fucking question her at all, okay, until it is 100% obvious that she has turned the worm. And but they go and do everything that shouldn't do, and that they would be, you know, like antithetical to their mission, but they just follow her order, you know, without question, one after the other. And it's just
It's a great sequence too, as they come to the realization of what's going on. It's like the slow burn moment, you know?
yeah.
Because the first war boy is like, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then,
Yeah.
but then as the command goes down the line, there's like less and less concern, because it's like, oh, well, my commander told me, like, yeah, okay, we're going west now. Like, I'm at the back of the war rig. I don't know what's going on. I'm waiting for some guy to come so I can shoot him. I guess we're going west now. And then, yeah, it becomes obvious, and it shows how much trust all of them have in Furiosa. You know, like, none of them could conceive that this woman would betray them. And it's like, I guess none of you read the fucking autobiography of Malcolm X or Pimp by Iceberg Slim, because that's one of the first things that they outline about, like, if you're going to professionally abuse and mistreat women, you will control them for a while. And then at some point, they will fucking turn on you. Yeah. And I guess, you know, and Morton Joe got caught slipping on his mackin'. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah, I did. I mean, shit, dude.
He needs that Tariq Nasheed Mackin book. Do you know that Tariq Nasheed has like a Mackin book?
Yes, I do. Actually,
play a Mac Daddy. And the advertisement that he plays at the beginning of his podcast is like, "This book ain't for some jive chump." It's like he insults the reader the whole time. You ain't some kind of mackin', jackin', smackin'. I'm like, dude, nobody's used this slang for like 40 years. You sound so fucking old right now.
Superfly style. What if he was a Morton Joe? That'd be amazing.
Oh,
have Tariq Nasheed as a Morton Joe,
smacking his cough drops every 30 seconds with those big old lips.
You goddamn monkey mayo or mayo monkeys. You fucking snow.
Yeah, that's He'd be talking about the caucasity of
Furiosa and how she was never really his daughter. He never really loved her. He never really cared
about to get buck broken.
Yeah, get him back here. Get him back to the goddamn barn.
Oh, that would be great, dude. Dude, not only let's take.
Dude, we're 10 years out from being able to like put this in a prompt and see a version of it.
Guys, we know that Tariq Nasheed is a director. Why stop at having him being a Morton Joe? Let's have him direct the whole fucking movie, okay?
Damn, dude.
Can you imagine what it would have turned out like if Tariq Nasheed had directed Fury Road? What a mess.
Well, I could tell you all of like the peasant people, they'd all be black, and they would rise up at the end. That's what would happen. And then Max would be he'd be killed because he's going to turn out to be a bad guy. Right. He has to be a villain, secret villain, because even though Morton,
Vivica A. Fox.
Yes, exactly. Or no, it's got to be what's her name? Will Smith's witch. What's her name? Jada Pinkett Smith.
Yeah.
She's got she has Charlize Theron energy. Like they have a similar kind of vibe and aura to them. Because they're like evil human beings, you know? It just kind of emanates off them.
Yeah. Well, child abusers.
They're child abusers. Yeah, exactly.
You can only drink the blood of so much acrenodrome babies before you get a certain look, you know?
You know what also I love about about Morton Joe and Hugh Keys-Byrne's performance, rest in peace, by the way, is the physicality he brings to it. Like that fucking like stock water he's running and stuff. It's so awesome.
Because he's just covered in shit. Like he's just like,
he's covered in like this powder stuff. Like I think it's supposed to be implied that it's some sort of like cocaine or something. It's some sort of like it's to help his growths.
Well, not just the powder and stuff, but like the weird chest plate that he's got and the huge hair and the mask, and doesn't he have like a staff that he has sometimes? And it's just like. You're right. When he runs, he's got to like.
He's like, oh!
There's kind of a Darth Vader parallel to it too, where his mask is basically his life support in a way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then like Shaun, the one scene that I think you're referring to, where his mask is open and he's like screaming.
And that's another thing that I like about the movie, and I like about George Miller in general, is that he has a sense of humor.
Yeah.
And he sprinkles it in the movies, like. He never lets things get too serious. Even in something like The Road Warrior, there's tons of like little silly light moments in that movie that are just even amidst the carnage, you know? And
Partners.
and exactly, yeah. But Fury Road has a very similar quality because it has a lot of like kind of funny moments, and a lot of that I think is probably Nicholas Hoult, who is also kind of also a protagonist because he actually has a character arc. He goes on a journey emotionally as a character. You know, he starts as a sycophantic war boy and then finds his humanity at the end and wants to be witnessed by like regular people right before he dies. What do you guys think of Nicholas Hoult as Nux?
Great job. I
A lot of
really,
fun.
yeah, like he did have a character arc, and it seemed like, I mean, obviously, people point out all the time that like his makeup fades as he goes through the movie, and he becomes more of a human and less of a war boy. But he did bring this kind of humanity to it. You can see how like fun it would be to be a war boy.
Yeah, yeah.
Like he
Yeah,
loves it. He fucking loves being a
yeah,
war boy.
because you get to be it's like forever little boys. Like you're in Neverland, like you had said, that Peter Pan syndrome that they have, and it's just exciting. It's play. And
Yeah, they all know they're
they
going to
kind of
die young because they have like their radiation half life or whatever. So it's like, fuck it, let's die on the Fury Road.
yeah, and they
Yeah.
have like kind of a loose ideology that kind of follows, you know, kind of like Viking stuff with Valhalla and
I really like the V8 religion thing. Like that's pretty cool.
oh yeah, yeah, V8, 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 and they put
Yeah,
their
like this
fingers
whole
together.
cult,
So
and it's very Mad Max. That's like, 'cause of course, like maintaining cars like that in the post-apocalypse would be fucking impossible. Like they wouldn't be able to do what they're doing with the resources that they have. It's a
yeah,
total
on the
total
sand,
waste of allocated resources.
driving
But
through sand.
but they have a cult, so you know it makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I like his character. I like his journey. I think the Peter Pan stuff is definitely present, and but he is, to me, he's the source of more of the lighter moments, like the funnier stuff in the movie. Well, I mean, it's one of my all time favorite just funny moments in an action movie ever is when he goes back to a Morton Joe and he's like hanging on the car. And he's like, oh, and he sprays him in the face. And then he jumps off, and it's this big heroic. The music is swelling, and then he slips. And Morton Joe's like, ugh, mediocre.
Or like the other, the moment where, and I know it has to do with his war boy buddy too, but he's got the war bride scarf, and a Morton Joe like lets him up onto the rig, and then the other guy's like, I got his boot. I got the blood bag's boot.
Yeah.
He's just like, no, nobody really gives a shit about the boot, but that's okay. Good try.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because he's so like earnest. He's the nerd. He's like the dork. He's like the one that's just like, come on, guys, let me like have fun too. I know I'm about to die, but let me have some fun.
He's so committed to his cause and his people. Like even when Furiosa and Max have that first big tussle, like he's actually helping Max out too in the fight, like
Yeah,
Arthur
yeah.
with just carrying the chain around. Like,
He's
oh,
like,
don't
talking
worry.
about what's going to get rewarded.
Yeah, yeah.
You could ask for more than your coat.
Trembling says, I remember arguing with a retard that read Nux as being a simp. Is he a simp? I don't know.
I don't think he's a simp.
I don't think he's a simp.
Simps out at all. He kind of falls in love with that girl, and then he like sacrifices himself so that everybody can live, not just her.
Yeah. Nux is a hero, okay? He's a hero.
I really love that scene where they're going over the plan at the end, and Charlize Theron is like trying to kick the legs out from the plan, and bit by bit, everybody kind of adds to the plan to the point where it becomes obvious that they can actually do this.
Mm-hmm.
And Duck's kind of shakes his head and is like, "Yeah, feels like hope." And it's like that whole scene is so cool in a way because it's like there's nothing worse than a movie where things just happen because they need to happen.
Yeah.
And that scene is such a good, we're putting this plan together scene, you know? Each different characters bring different elements to the plan. Oh yeah, we can do that. And if we can do that, then it leads to this.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking Nux is kind of like an allegory for how middle-aged white women think they're going to save everybody. So like, yeah, it doesn't matter. They just need experience with other people, and they just need to, you know, to give them some money in a better circumstance, and they'll totally change. I mean, 25 years of being a war boy, I mean, what is that to an afternoon with these beautiful lasses?
Exactly. I can tame him.
Yeah.
I can
fix him.
You can fix them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a pit bull that has bit 6 people.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Oh, yeah, do I have a small child? Yes, I do. And I'm going to show everybody how fucking kind I am by taking in the street dog. I'm very virtuous. I'm very cool. So moving on a little bit from some of the characters, we can circle back to if you guys think of anything else. But
Well, actually, before we switch from characters real fast,
Sure.
anybody have a particular favorite or
I
secret
do.
MVP?
Thank
or...
you. Thank you, Jeremy. I do. What's yours, Dan? You go first. Your secret MVP.
My secret MVP is the fucking bullet farmer, dude.
Hell yeah. Is it the
One angry shot for Furiosa, and he pulls his fucking tooth out, which is a bullet, and sticks it in the gun. Like,
Just one.
Yeah. It's got a very comic booky kind of vibe to those moments, like that section of the movie.
and then, like, you can feel the panic in that moment where they're holding the flare in front of his face, and he's like, "Hold it closer," and he's like, "It's right in front of your face." Like, dude, you're blind as fuck now. You might hit one of the brides. Oh, I'm just probing. That dude's just a nut. I love it.
Yeah, it's very Australian. It's like the most authentically Australian moment in the movie because that's
And that one line where he's like, "All this for a family tussle or something," and then he goes, "Healthy babies." He's just disgusted by the whole thing, man.
My secret MVP for the movie is Angus Sampson, the organ mechanic. So he's like the doctor.
Yep.
And he's also Australian guy, Australian character actor. Very good one. He's been in a bunch of really good stuff. But he just brings like such a quality. He's such a like so gross and nasty. And he's like fucking drooling and shit all the time and sweaty and he has some great line deliveries. Just he's barely in the movie, but he's super memorable.
Yeah, the baby brother.
Fingers in the umbilical cord, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was perfect in every way.
And he was perfect in every way.
Oh, and that's a really sad part where Rictus like screams it. "I had a baby brother. He was perfect in every way." Because like Rictus is a little kid too. He's like,
listen,
Rictus
these
has a mind of, like a
this
6-year-old kid, you know.
These fucking patriarchal sons of bitches. What is this? Some kind of sick pro-life message? What the fuck?
Oh, and I think one of my favorite character moments is when, dude, it's one of the greatest moments in any movie ever. When Rictus rips the turbocharger off of the engine and holds it above his head. Right before he's about to throw it, he goes, "Rictus!" so the parallel is like, imagine it was you, Shaun. Imagine it was you, and you rip the supercharger out, and you pull it over your head, and you go, "Shaun Deegan!"
Oh yeah.
Well, that's what made Rick is my secret MVP too, because he just has all those great like one-liners and moments.
Amazing. What an amazing casting.
He's got like the mind of a baby, but like the strength of an ox, and I just like his like little inflections, like when he's like tasting the milk, going, "Yeah, I think this tastes good."
Yeah, the dude sips.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the milk scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like when they're grieving over the dead bride, and he's like just sort of arbitrarily shooting the gun in the air, just like, and he looks at Immortan Joe almost with like, "Am I grieving enough, Dad?" kind of.
Yeah, no, he's looking for his approval. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because they're daddy's boys, you know. Their mothers are dead. Actually, I love the moment where Immortan Joe picks up the bride's like body, and it's just all bent and fucked up, and he's like, "Oh."
Yeah. There's so many little gems in this fucking movie, dude. It's just gem after gem.
No, it really is. I mean, and that's something you can say about the movie is its attention to detail. I mean, the production design, the planning. It ends up being kind of a happy accident that it took them so long to make the movie because they really got to sit there and think about it. They didn't even really have a script. It was just storyboards and then like handwritten dialogue on the sides of the storyboards. That's what they gave to people. That's one of the reasons the actors were so perturbed. They're like, this is a comic book. But
Joel
I think
Schumacher would have been fucking so psyched.
Dude, he would have. Joel Schumacher would have fucking blew his load all over this thing, dude. But we'd be looking. It would be Val Kilmer. It'd be Kiefer Sutherland. It'd be the hot guys.
If you don't get your stuff together, Tom, I can have Val in here in like 15 minutes. He's already in Australia on vacation.
That's a great Joel Schumacher, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have a scarf on at the same time as a button-up shirt, so it wasn't perfect.
Yeah. I just want to say to anybody that was disappointed in Batman and Robin, I am sorry. That's one of my favorite things ever. But yeah, we got to talk about the chases, the stunts. I mean, the meat of the production, really. I
Well,
mean, they are incredible. They're impressive.
even all the vehicles are characters in and of themselves as well.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
in fact, if you're watching these movies in order, going after Thunderdome, which seems to largely like depart from a lot of the vehicle chasing and what that was all about. Like this is definitely like a send up to uh, Road Warrior.
Yeah, it's it draws. There's a lot of parallels.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah, everything has their own distinct look. They feel like they're just like a second home for like all of these characters too. They know all the mechanics of their own car. They can sleep in there for days if they had to. They seem to just get around pretty well. Everybody's just a very good. I wouldn't say good, but everybody can drive. So.
Well, it's like the cars are designed to be extensions of their characters.
Yeah.
And it really works. I mean, like Nux's little like Volkswagen Beetle or whatever the fuck he has. Morton Joe literally has like two 1957 Buicks with giant tires like just stacked on top of each other, like the grandiosity of it. Furiosa and the beat up war truck. The scabs, the scavenger guys, or what are they called? Like the crows or something? The dudes with the cars with all the spikes all over them.
Yeah.
It just adds, there's so much information. The buzzards, thank you. There's so much information being conveyed to you about the world and the characters constantly. And you don't even register it most of the time, right? It's just kind of coming into your subconscious. And I think that's why the world feels so well built, even though we don't really know much about it or get very much information, but it all feels very like earned.
Well,
Somehow I understand how this society works, even though I have not been directly told anything about it.
right. That's a well-built world. It's a world that you don't need. It's alien to you, but you don't need exposition to understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's just a credit to the production design. I mean, they're really, really amazing. The attention to detail, like every little stitch is there's something was thought about it,
Well, that speaks to a lot of the visual storytelling too, because maybe give or take a few lines here and there, it could have been a silent film, and you still would have gone the story beat for beat.
Somebody did a fan edit of it, actually silent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Zoe Kravitz and how fucking talented she is?
Yes, of course we can. Zoe Kravitz, daughter of Lenny Kravitz. And, let me tell you what, the apple does not fall far from the tree. Very talented.
Seriously. I probably didn't sleep with anybody to get that role.
Probably not. Definitely
9.5
not Tom Hardy.
for me.
9.5? Really,
Michelle Pfeiffer,
9.5?
eat your heart out. We have a new Catwoman in town. She's black.
Yeah. Get out of town, everybody. Yeah, she's not here for all these old, dead white men, okay? As she literally says in a piece of dialogue in the film The Batman. Jesus Christ, people.
Are you paying attention yet?
The fucking that British comedy Garth Marenghi's Dark Place has the best quote ever, and it was so prescient. It was just like, I know writers who use subtext and they're all cowards, and he's playing a bad writer, so like who's really full of himself. And it's exactly what we have now, though. But that's exactly what we have now. Thankfully, that's not the case with Fury Road. It lets the subtext be subtext. It is subtext.
Oh, Cosmic Kitty's going live. I got to drop.
I hear you. Hey, listen.
Hey, now check this out. If Cosmic Kitty had played Furiosa, that would have been a hell of a flick, right?
No,
there.
dude, she'd be a Morton Joe.
Oh shit, that's perfect.
She looks like a Morton Joe.
Yes.
Come here, my pretties. I'll call the police on you. Get back in the vault.
Do not become addicted to water.
Or you'll reject its absence.
Really, I could see it. You could see it too. I'm telling you, we're like 10 years away from an AI prompt, and we'll watch that, Check out this. We call it the loser Truman Show cut of Mad Max Fury Road, and just recast with all of those people.
Valley 420 is Mad Max.
Him or Mark Taylor. I was going to give Mark Taylor the honors.
Oh yeah, well no, I think Mark Taylor would be the little midget retard guy in the
the other little brother. Yeah,
yeah.
that guy rules too, by the way. And so
Actually,
does
no, let's throw Mark Taylor a bone and make him Rictus. He would love that.
yeah, Rictus Erectus. Exactly. He would get off on. He's like, oh, what's my
Yeah,
name?
yeah.
Erectus, dude. Oh
They
shit,
just pull a
dude.
turbocharger out and scream Mark Taylor.
Actually, yeah, that would be his dream. Life fulfilled.
Yeah.
Life fulfilled. Trembling says Cosmic Kitty sitting next to Abby Shapiro in the milking room. Oh, Abby Shapiro. She would be the only one in there because you don't need anybody else if you got Abby Shapiro.
Yeah, you don't need that.
And she wouldn't leave.
She's happy.
Yeah.
Too.
And she's trad, so she would stay. She'd be totally cool. It's a tribal thing. You guys wouldn't get it.
And then instead of Rick just taking a drink of the milk, it's Ben Shapiro. He's just like,
Well, Ben Shapiro would have to be the little midget guy. He'd have to be him. He'd be like,
taking a wrong turn, Dad.
yeah. Why are they going to Palestine? The hostages, what?
Oh my God.
I mean, hospitals, whatever.
She's making off with our $10.5 billion a year, Dad.
Look, Furiosa, you gotta buy for British Gold. Come on. Like,
Come on. Yeah, exactly. And at the end, he talks about birch gold. Exactly. Maybe they're going to get birch gold. Birch gold over there. What do you think, guys? Hey, gang.
That means that Ben Shapiro survives the movie, though.
Well, that's true. Well, yeah, that remains. I mean, I guess it could be implied that
Yeah, we can just
Morton Joe's lineage is going to get wiped out.
Right.
You know, they're not that benevolent. They're not that everybody gets a second chance.
I like that we've come up with so many alternative like timelines here. We got Ben Shapiro, Durian Ryder, and Tariq Nasheed all in one.
Tariq Nasheed directs it. Durian Ryder is Mad Max. Cosmic Kitty as a Morton Joe. Abby Shapiro as the milk lady. Yeah. And then just on from there. We'll fill it out later. But the stunt work is awesome, though, and it took them a very long time to film the movie. I think that also is part of the frustration with the actors, that they were just there for so long out in the desert. And because these are long, arduous...
Around at the craft table. Fuck, I would hate that job.
Oh, I know. Well, that's the thing, too, because they're like, oh, yeah, it's so arduous. I was there for 4 months. I'm like, yeah, but you're sitting around, like in a trailer or something.
Oh,
like,
did they have you roofing when you weren't acting?
Like they literally hire people to dress in your costume and sit in your spot for lighting. That you don't even need you for that. You know?
literally need to show up for the fucking close-ups, like Arnold on the set of Batman and Robin. He was there for like days. Got paid like $2 million. It was such an arduous process doing the makeup. You did the makeup 3 times.
I had to get there at 4 a.m.
The only person I feel bad for is Alan Cumming in fucking X-Men 2. Apparently that was like pretty grueling.
That and what's her name? Mystique.
Rebecca Romaine.
And also Jennifer Aniston. Apparently Jennifer Aniston hated it so much that by the last X-Men movie she was in, she basically had it in her contract that they were only allowed to put her in the makeup for X amount of time.
X amount of times?
You got it, brother.
And Jennifer Aniston?
You mean Lawrence? Jennifer Lawrence?
Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
Jennifer.
J-Law.
I probably would have preferred Jennifer Aniston, actually.
No, I have a thing for Jennifer Lawrence. Anya Taylor-Joy, I really think she's a really unique creature. Something about her.
No, I'm going to be an incel and say these fucking women are mid.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm going to say that these fucking angelic, near perfect, fairy-like women are mid.
Yeah, that's how they get their power, their strength. She's not so good looking. I'm not missing out on anything, am I?
Her toes, dude.
Exactly.
Gross.
Dude, what the fuck? Open-toed shoes? Deal breaker.
Furiously beating off to Celebrity Jihad or whatever that fucking...
Fucking... You got Marshall Mathers the fourth over there. Fucking jerking off to Disney cartoons. These people, I swear to God, dude.
Speaking of hot, check out those chastity belts that Morton Joe had on the brides.
Dude, that's another great example of the attention to detail, the little teeth.
Yeah. Yes.
Over the crotch. Rough. You got to really want it, you know? But then they have that liberating moment. And I think they probably put the teeth on there by design to have this kind of like A direct parallel, so it's more obvious that it's like a vagina being freed, liberation.
Now they can fuck whoever they want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, Dan.
And as we know, when women make the choice to fuck whoever they want, good things happen.
That's what I've always been told. That's what I've always been told. That's what I know. I don't know if you guys know this guy named Sandman. Okay, he can tell you a thing or two about women and why you don't need them. Okay, watch pornography nonstop and just get a sex doll. You'll be fine. That's their literal advice, Dan. That's fucking crazy, dude. Sorry, guys. I'm like, my mind has been like really fucked into the dirt the last 2 nightcaps. I'm just like,
and when I say keep it clean, I don't mean the conversation. I mean your sex doll. You need to clean that thing regularly because it will smell like your dried cum. Take it from me. That's a boner killer. Okay?
That's exactly. Man, we're really getting hot and heavy, and I realized I hadn't cleaned this thing in a while, and I started smelling dried cum. Oh, you don't know what dried cum smells like? Yeah, you never should either.
I damn near ruined my Anna Taylor joy by not doing regular cleanings.
She'd be a good sex doll. That would be like a good design.
Well, it kind of sucks because you put that black grease paint on her eyes, and you got to rub that off at the end of the night so it doesn't get off all on the pillows.
That's true. Yeah.
Look, she'll teach you how to play chess. How about that?
She could do that too. Yeah. And she's also a witch.
Furiosa robot arm.
Yeah. Does Daddy like this? You piece of shit. Furiosa.
If you look at the fingers of that robot arm, it kind of looks like a cheese grater kind of thing. It would not be a comfortable hand job.
No. Definitely.
Like a chainmail glove or something. Just, don't do it, Furiosa.
Unless you're into that kind of stuff and you're like, no, Furiosa, use the good hand. No, the good one.
Yeah. Use the strong
hand. Use your strong hand, please. Thank you. I'm really trying to enjoy this. But anyways, the stunt work. We haven't said anything remarked about really the stunts at all. Is there any stunts that like really stand out to you guys as like kind of wow, like big moments?
The pole vaulting and launching, going from like vehicle to vehicle, dragging like Max up and down like he's like completely helpless at points.
Yeah.
It's great, really and it's mostly all on camera.
I think that is kind of the cream of the stunts in the movie, even to the point where there's a shot where like Max is going across on one of the poles as there's a bunch of explosions happening, and he's facing toward them, watching them. And he's almost like an avatar for the audience. Like even Max can't pull his eyes off the carnage that's happening in front of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the pole vaulting part is probably my favorite stunt.
Yeah, because I love that stuff too. But it actually made me think, even though how much I appreciate it, it's kind of what I was talking about before, where the stunts in this don't like sit with me as strongly as the Road Warrior ones because they're so choreographed. Like that's an example of like they knew when all the explosions were happening. They have it timed with the weights and the robot arm of him going up and coming back. Like it's awesome and it's awe-inspiring and it's a huge technical feat. And I would never take anything away from that. But as an audience member and just something that like stays with me in like a visceral way, I definitely my mind floats back to some of the stuff in Road Warrior, like before this for sure. But not to say, like I said, it's not to take anything away from it, but
I'm going to make a fan cut called the Shaun Deegan cut, and it's going to be Mad Max Fury Road exactly the way it is, except during the pole vaulting sequence, I'm just going to cut in that one shot of the stuntman like flipping around and breaking his leg. Boom, and then right back into Fury Road.
It's the only
Are you happy now, Shaun?
Yeah. That's the ending credits. You're welcome.
Somebody almost died for this. Are you happy now?
But there's so much cool stuff, though. I mean, even just the drive, like that, the whole opening part of the chase right before they get into the big like sandstorm is awesome. It's so cool. Like there's so much shit going on, and you don't know. Like the Ward Boys are starting to turn on Furiosa, but they haven't really yet. And you're watching it all happen. This kind of maelstrom of insanity. And
or at least one of my other favorite moments where Rictus is like, "She thinks we're stupid, Dad. She thinks she can lose us in there." And then there's a shot of Morton Joe like looking at his compass, going nuts.
Yeah,
and he like tries to tap it, and the look on his face is like, she might actually lose us in there, man. She might be right. Like I love that shot because the son's just like, "She thinks we're stupid, Dad," and then the look on Dad's face is like, "Well, She might be fucking us right now, so maybe we are.
Well, son, you win some, you lose some.
So many moments where the actors just speak a novel with their eyes, man.
Yeah.
Well, it's true, man, and that's why it's like impeccably cast in that way. Because even like say like especially with like the brides, I would say on the spectrum of like good and bad performances, they're closer to the bad side. But they have it's so striking visually. They have like a perfect look.
Yeah,
for what they're supposed to be.
Like Denise Richards in Starship Troopers, like she's playing a ditzy pretty girl. So she doesn't need to have a lot of depth to her performance because her character doesn't have a lot of fucking depth, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
I was gonna say like
that's why what the fuck is her name? I fucked up the joke. Kravitz. That's why Miss Kravitz was such a perfect choice because she is a charisma vacuum, and her only job is to sit there and look pretty, have like sexy armpits. That's like her whole job.
Have sexy armpits? Is that what you said?
Yeah, yes.
Check these things out, boys. Just got a little stubble there, you know.
Just enough to make it look like it smells good.
Just a little texture there when your hands roving around, you know.
I'll be back in a minute.
What were you gonna say, Jeremy?
I was gonna say like characters, like all the things going on in characters' eyes. I was gonna say also lack thereof, like the Doof Warrior when it's revealed he's blind, he doesn't even have eyes.
Yeah. Apparently, he's supposed to be wearing his dead mother's face.
I learned that today.
Yeah, the leather mask that he's wearing, and I guess a lot of this because this was a very trendy thing at the time when this came out is to have like a multimedia release. So there's a bunch of prequel comics to this movie, which I had completely forgotten about until I was looking stuff up for this conversation. I was like, oh yeah, there was those comic books. I never read them, but they're there.
Yeah.
They give you a little bit more backstory, a little bit more context for some of the characters, I guess.
Yeah, apparently there's a lot of like canon backstory because George Miller wrote so much backstory for shit, and then the movie's so kinetic. There's not really any room for it, you know. So.
Yeah. No, they made the right choice. They definitely made the right choice. And like like I had brought up at the beginning that all the media surrounding this movie during its production was negative, and one of those things that was negative was the they did test screenings like in 2013. Before they even had really finished the movie. And apparently it didn't have the opening 10 minutes or the closing 10 minutes. Like they hadn't shot any of the Citadel stuff yet. And the studio, I guess, gave them a really hard time and was making them do like re-edits based on test screening notes like every 5 weeks. And they weren't allowing them to finish the movie. So I guess George Miller and his wife, actually, Margaret Sixel, I think that's how you say her name. Basically locked them out and just stopped communicating with them and went in and they're like, we're just going to do what we think is right. And that's the movie that we get to watch. So good on them for kind of sticking to their guns and not getting bogged down, because I can't even imagine being like a director and having a studio forcing you to do test screenings on a completely incomplete movie. It doesn't have the beginning or the end. None of the effects are done yet. That's just like this big chase scene with no context, and then taking notes like you're supposed to. Like, what are you really going to do with that? Like,
what are studio people even thinking? Like, do they do they have any inner world? Like, who the fuck are these people that make these creative decisions?
Well, because they're not creative people.
I ask. Yeah, exactly.
Well, one of them. Yeah, exactly.
Like, can you imagine having to sit in a room with one of these fucking guys and have him deconstruct your work? Be like, but why isn't there another explosion at the end? I mean, I like the explosions you got, but there's got to be one more big one. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude?
No, listen, demographics. Listen, we've done a lot of checking. Okay,
hey,
we like what we like about your movies.
Yellow? I think I'd like that guy to be wearing yellow.
Yeah, you guys ever see Dick Tracy? Oh, goddamn, I love Dick Tracy. Man, what if he was kind of like a Dick Tracy character?
I watch that Dick Tracy holiday special 2 or 3 times a year. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Just getting ready for whatever's next. So he's always any project that comes his way. So he's trying to finagle it into the new Dick Tracy movie. Trembling says that pale blonde one that elf that ate Elle Fanning in the Neon Demon. I read them. One is about Max over the years rebuilding the V8 Interceptor. Their gold salesman, ironically, gold is usually part of their last name too. But anyways, yeah. So it was a labor of love the whole way through, all the way to the end, all the way through post-production, all the way up to release, having to fight to get their vision on the screen. And boy, did they ever. Boy, did they ever.
And that's why I think that even, I say, because I was thinking about it today, I was like, oh man, they're going to make this Furiosa movie and they're never going to make another Mad Max movie. And I'm like, but what if they made another Mad Max movie and it was just kind of okay?
That's exactly.
Maybe we would rather have them make Furiosa and shoot their load on that.
I mean, we're going to get another Mad Max, whether or not it's in George Miller's lifetime. I don't know. But we will get one.
I didn't even think about that, dude.
Because Warner Brothers owns this property. They're not going to be like, oh, we're not going to use like a famous franchise. Of course they are. Like, that's... Yeah. And it's going to be like kind of dumb and...
It's going to be fucking Kathleen Kennedy Star Wars, dude.
Well, I mean, George Miller's already doing that himself a little bit, but it'll only be worse. Yeah,
we'll look back on Furiosa like, man, that was the last good one.
Yeah, those were the good old days.
Yeah. Fuck me, that is so depressing. I didn't even think about that. I was literally thinking, like, I guess I had that sort of naivete that Immortan and Joe had. Like, they wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, Mad Max will die with George Miller. Holy shit, no, it's not. They're going to fucking flog that thing.
I think if Furiosa does well, there's a possibility that he gets one more in. I think there's a slim chance.
Yeah.
He seems very, because
they should say, Tom, thanks for your performance. We're going with old man Mad Max. We're getting.
Yeah. That's what I want. I want bring Gibson back. Yeah. Do the final Mad Max story. Just Bruce Willis, yeah, he'd be good. He'll have, like mute. Well, he's actually going to be the Pharaoh boy.
Oh, right.
In the future, yeah. We're gonna do that. Well, if Bruce Willis played him, he'd have to play the Tom Hardy version. You know, he'd have to be kind of doing that.
Confuse things even more. Confuse the continuity even more.
That's so.
Well, that's what's I kind of like the open-endedness of the idea that like Max is kind of like a story that Wastelanders tell to each other. Maybe he's not even one guy. Maybe he's like a archetype that, you know, people tell each other in the wasteland around campfires or whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I would have been, if it was like revealed, if it was confirmed that it actually was a different person, I wouldn't be bothered by that.
I wouldn't either. I like shit like that. Why not? Who the fuck cares, man? It's fiction, dude.
Well, because it just adds to the grand myth of it, like that it's part of this grand tradition of telling this story about this kind of person, this kind of nameless hero.
And that part when they were talking about the satellites and they're like, back in the day, everybody had their own show. You know, they're talking about Zoobox, Flea Pit, and the NECA King. They're talking about that.
All day.
We've all got our own shows.
We're like, you know, listen, guys. We're power brokers. We're power brokers.
I wasn't joking about the Jack Kirby thing. They made a fucking Jack Kirby NECA toy, Shaun. And it sucked.
I know. I thought, I mean, if you were into comic books, you'd think that was cool.
Yeah, I know. It's just I recognize how pathetic what I'm doing is when I look at collectibles that I'm not into. And I'm like, oh, my collectibles look like that to other people.
Yeah, you're very judgy, but like, look at these fucking losers. And then like behind you, you're like, oh.
Spinny bow staff!
Be like, it's fucking different, dude. It's different. Listen, you don't get it.
Not different.
You just don't get it.
I think it speaks to the little boy mentality with the villains and all the warrior boys and everything, because you know, in a different world, Furiosa what she ended up doing was just stealing all of Imogen Joe's NECA.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got his shelf.
Where is she taking them?
Yeah. All of his alternative hands and heads are gone. Like his accessories have been fucked with. He's like, where did she go?
Dude, that would be an amazing sketch. If you did that and you're like downstairs and you're and realizing that things are amiss.
Man, I've
What?
been taking Theo down in the studio and letting him actually play with my NECA figure.
How
Holy
nice.
shit! The most nerve-wracking experience that I've ever had in my life is letting my 4-year-old play with all those fucking toys. It's like, have fun, buddy.
Yeah, yeah. That's the
But
ones they start throwing against the wall for no reason. You're like, why?
he's,
What
he's
happened? What just happened?
and the thing is, he's like learning, and he's trying to be gentle with the things, but he's a 4-year-old boy, so it's like he naturally just destroys shit by having it.
Yes. Oh, trust
Sorry,
me.
Papa, I broke your new space Donatello. God damn it. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, back to the 4-year-old boy. I mean, that's why I wanted to do the Fury Road episode, because having watched it again, it's just like it so lives up to the hype. It's so easy to watch. It's so enjoyable. It's so kinetic. The music is great. The visuals are great. The acting's great. It is. It's like a Terminator 2. It's a movie you can just throw on
Actually,
and
yeah,
have on.
that's a great parallel. Actually, yeah, it has that kind of just like rewatchability and vibe to it.
Mm.
And it's just a very memorable movie. Like it sticks with you, just the visuals of it, and it's an accomplishment just on that footing. Like I said, like I can understand somebody like not liking this movie just out of taste or something, but saying it's a bad movie objectively, I can't get on board with, because there's a lot of haters. There's some Mad Max Fury Road haters out there for sure.
Like Jesse Lee Peterson says, people love their own hell. They love living in their own hell. It's like, just enjoy shit. That's what, like when I was a musician, I used to be so fucking condescending and cocky about like my music taste.
What?
Just enjoy shit.
Yeah, that's something you learn when you like start getting in your 30s. You're like, okay, I'm not too cool for things anymore.
Yeah.
So now I can kind of
Yeah.
lighten the fuck up.
Or when I got over spoilers, it's like, I don't fucking care, dude. Like, just
Actually, yeah.
like, in fact, sometimes I like hearing the spoilers because then it makes me more excited to see the thing actually happen. I'm like, what happens?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like I posted, I've got a buddy from New Jersey. We were friends growing up, and he's like I love him to death, but he's grown into like a prototypical man child. Like he didn't buy a bunch of toys because he had a kid and it inspired his inner child. He just has a bunch. He's like got a baby Yoda that he posts pictures with, and he's like, "Why doesn't any girl like me?" And what was it? Was it Spider-Man No Way Home? I think I posted something about Spider-Man No Way Home and all the Spider-Men being in there or something. And he sent me a message like, dude, some people haven't seen it. Why would you ruin it for other people? I'm like, we are 38 years old. Stop.
And also, they're literally marketed the movie with this because that's how they got people to go to the theater.
Right.
What are you talking
It might have
about?
not been No Way Home. I did a spoiler for some movie, and he messaged me like, Adam, like, why would you spoil that? It's like,
I haven't talked to you in 10 years, dude.
yeah, like seriously, like we haven't talked since we were kids, and this is what you're fucking contacting me about.
Yeah. Actually, my wife had a very similar thing that happened. She's like, I haven't talked to this girl in like 20 years. And the first thing she says to me was like criticizing me for like a meme I posted. I was like, what did you do? She's like, I blocked her. Like, we're learning. We're learning.
Yep.
We're good.
But seriously, like the older I get, the less I fucking care about. Like I just want to see the movie. I just want to hear the song. I just want to look at the painting. I don't fucking care about everything else that's attached to it. And it has allowed me so much more joy in my life to just.
Oh,
enjoy.
100%. Yeah, just
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead, man.
I was gonna say, like, Shaun and I have talked about this plenty of times on like past shows, but I've definitely even gone like softer when it comes to like a lot of stuff. When it comes to like really good music in a film, or seeing a family dynamic work together, like I definitely just stuff I'm just responding to in a much more sentimental manner than maybe a movie like that wouldn't even like allow for, but does have that effect on me anyway. So
Yeah, you don't care about it being corny.
yeah.
Like there's this weird thing I think that young guys do where there's like self-imposed bullshit. Like, no, this is who I am. This is what I'm into. These definitive statements about your
demand
personality.
authenticity in my art. Shut the fuck up, okay?
Oh, dude, I got in a fist fight with somebody over something like stupid like that at a show that I was playing at. It was very awkward after because I was totally in the wrong.
So did somebody
just
install 2 yards or something? Like,
Fuck you. I don't listen to Tune Yards. I can't even remember what it was. I don't even remember. I just like remember being like so infuriated, and it was like I thought somebody was acting like a poser to me, and it immediately just set me off.
they were wearing a shirt of a band, and you walk up and were like, name 5 fucking songs that weren't a hit. And you couldn't do it, so you glassed him.
I had to, dude. You're gonna wear an Agent Orange shirt. You better fucking know more than the greatest hits, pal.
Seriously, I saw a fucking 12-year-old girl on the street with a Nirvana shirt, and I was like, name 5 fucking songs.
I did that to my son the other day. I said, "Oh yeah, buddy, you're a fan, huh?" That's happened to me in the wild, actually. Years and years ago, there was a girl I went to high school with. She had a Nirvana shirt on. Had no fucking idea who Nirvana was. Even back then, I was like, "Oh wow,
Well,
that's crazy."
it reminds me of there was this Asian lady who worked at one of the Whole Foods I worked at in Santa Fe, and she was Tibetan, and she didn't speak a lot of English, but she would always have like T-shirts with phrases on them. And sometimes they would be fucking ridiculous phrases, like I don't know, nothing wild, but just something you get at TJ Maxx, and it would say something stupid, and I would stop her and be like, "Do you know what your T-shirt says?" And she's like, "No, I just like the design of it."
Yeah,
What? You're wearing a thing with words on it.
it's
Like,
Yeah.
you could say "eat my asshole," like
Yeah, I
you
was gonna
would
say.
know.
So would you like to corn on my cob? Something fucking some weird pun from JCPenney with those like AI generated T-shirt designs they just pump out.
Yes.
Yeah, or it annoys me whenever people buy like those Goonies shirts from like a Target or something, and like they've clearly never seen the movie
A
before.
lot of fakers out there.
Got to
dude.
quiz them on the. Yeah.
Oh, so I saw you perusing the shirts. Yeah, nice sale. It's a nice sale. Yeah. What you got there? Oh, Purple Rain. Purple Rain, friend. You a big fan?
Is that Captain America's shield? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think you need one of these.
Is that the color purple shirt? Name how many times Harpo beat me.
Do it now. Just go full Sam Hyde. What you got in there? What do you got in your pocket?
No, seriously. No, what's your? Show me what's in your pocket.
Trembling says, I think that's age, but it's also that basic good elements from movies we used to take for granted are so rare now that we feel them more when they do show up. You know, actually, I think that is very true. If you are a person that generally watches kind of modern stuff a lot, when you go back and watch older movies, there's just like a realism to them. There's like it makes you like feel good. Like there's something actual tangible. It doesn't feel so disposable. Like it's made just for content.
It actually
like,
makes me feel cinematic.
Yes, and movies used to look cinematic. They don't, and that's intentional because they want it for a global market. So they just flatten everything out, take all the personality out of everything. That's why everybody that directs all those big Marvel movies, they're all like television directors because that's how you shoot TV shows.
Well, growing up in the late 80s and 90s, we got totally spoiled for cinema, man. That was like the fucking, as far as I'm concerned, it's like the peak of cinema in America, the fucking 90s.
Yeah, yeah. It does kind of feel like it.
Every year you had like fucking 50 great movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Every summer it was a killer summer. Every summer.
ID4? Dude, they wouldn't even let you make that movie these days.
They wouldn't do it. It'd be racist because we'd have to allow the aliens to come in with open arms. Be like, yeah, well, they're destroying everything. I know, but that's just their culture. Like, listen, these aliens are having a violent emergency.
I think the best point that was ever brought up about that was on Red Letter Media, and they're like, so wait a second. They have an unstoppable shield, and they want to take our resources. Why do they start a war in the first place? Why don't they just put a big hose down into Earth and suck up all the resources and get the fuck out of there? We wouldn't be able to do anything. Damn.
Yeah. The aliens kind of lost it. They lost it for themselves by slow rolling this attack. Like, what are you doing?
They gave us every opportunity, and then to open themselves up to a 1994 Macintosh virus. Come on. You guys didn't have malware bytes.
Listen, you got to go analog. You got to go old school when you're dealing with new tech. You know, when everybody's got the neural network chips and stuff, and I'm a free, a fully atomized man out here fighting everything. You know, something like that.
Well,
I don't know.
I don't know. Fury Road.
Fury Road, everybody. I just Junkie XL, great score. John Seal, amazing cinematography. Came out of retirement for it. Shot the shit out of this movie. Very
Good
cool.
choice to go with oversaturated.
Yeah. It's got a cool look to it. I mean, every single frame is touched. It's all color corrected.
It was almost going to be another one of those like dystopian, like desaturated films, and I think someone pushed for like, no, we got to play up the teal and the orange. We gotta make this as warm and vibrant as we possibly
Yeah, I think
can.
that's George Miller wanted to. I think it was George Miller and John Seal. I think because I was watching the making of, and John
What
Seal
I heard
was like,
20 things you didn't know about Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
That he apparently what they said was that George Miller was like, well, if we're going to desaturate it to a certain point, that we need to just go black and white. And then he like sat on that for a few days and he was like, no, that's too much like an art film. Let's push it in the other direction.
yeah. Well, and it's also at the time it was very fashionable to do that. Like the Book of Eli is the. I was watching the documentary and they used that as the juxtaposition because that thing is very desaturated. It's almost like day for night all the time.
It was that whole period, like that Terminator Salvation has that kind of look.
Has that same look.
Yeah, very bleak times.
And it just
But
and
pop.
it's
Makes everything pop. The blue of the sky with the orange of the sand, and then the cars. You know, the cars stand out so much more in the desert when it has that sort of dark orange hue in the sand.
I agree because I watched the black and chrome version for the first time. I'd never watched it before. I figured this would be the appropriate time to do it, and I really missed the color. Like I thought in moments it worked really well, some very striking imagery, but I thought overall it kind of just became kind of muddy. The visuals were kind of muddy, and because a lot of it's because during the car chases and stuff, there's sand kicking up everywhere, and when you lose like the fine detail of the color correction that they did. It's hard to like separate things out. Everything kind of gets like lost in a fog almost.
And it gives it this otherworldly feel where you feel like we've got, like, you know, in the first Mad Max, obviously society is still standing.
Yeah.
It's on the verge, but it's still standing. And then in the second Mad Max, society has completely fallen, but you feel, how do I describe it? You feel like the characters are almost trying to hold on to something from the past.
They are.
You know what I mean?
They are
that
100%.
repeats itself in the third movie. And then in this movie, everything feels so alien that it's like there's no going back now. This is the new world. This is the way that it is, and it's only going to get exponential from this point. There's no going back to anything that there was before. And the coloring gives it that sort of dreamlike quality of like just being in a completely different universe than we live in now.
Yeah, it kind of makes it mythological in a weird way. Like it helps with like kind of the myth making because it feels fairy tale like in a way.
But they still try to hold on to those like natural resources that they realize they, as whatever's left of their humanity, still kind of needs water, seeds to plant.
Yeah, I mean, what I like, you know, in regards to that, what I like about it is that is kind of what Dan was saying is like they come to a point as characters where they realize they can't just chase the past. Like that's kind of what they're doing. They're chasing the past, trying to get back to something that they're like familiar with instead of just accepting their circumstances and understanding that if they want it to change, if they want the world to be different, they actually have to do the hard work. They actually have to go and be leaders and etc. You know, however corny that sounds, that is kind of the message of the movie. You don't need to abandon this. You can make it better because you're women.
Right. Also, interesting thing. There's no food in this movie. There are
Except
two
for
instances
milk.
of somebody eating in the movie. At the beginning, it's where Max eats the lizard.
Yep.
And then there's a moment where Nux sees a spider like crawling down his girlfriend, and he lets it crawl on his finger and then eats it. Only 2 times in the movie you ever see people eating food. You see like greens in the Citadel, but they haven't been picked yet.
Yeah.
Oh, and I guess the milk part counts. But it's just like it is. It's a place that's so devoid of comfort. Everything feels icky. Everything feels dirty and hot and uncomfortable. It just, I don't know. Like you said at the beginning of the stream, it accomplishes what it sets out to do on almost every level. And even if it doesn't vibe with you, you have to admit that it's a masterpiece.
I agree. I mean, that's how I feel.
And how many more masterpieces is Hollywood ever going to produce?
I don't know, man. It's bleak. It's dark out there, dude.
Yeah.
Even now, George Miller's now a part of it. I hope not, dude. I hope Furiosa is a pleasant surprise. Like, I hope it at least, like, I mean, maybe because I have no my expectations are so low, I'll find something to appreciate about it. I don't know. I just really I really want to be in George Miller's corner. Like, I like George Miller. I kind of just like him even though I think he's a boomer idiot, because he fucking is. But, like, I just like him. He's just like such a jovial, nice, kind of laid back Australian dude. Like, I would love to hang out with George Miller. I think it would probably be a blast.
Yeah. And his
so I want his movie to do well. I want him to be okay. Okay.
Yeah.
He's fine.
And
He's got that babe too big in the city money, Shaun. He's fine.
I was actually going to ask either of you, did you see his 3,000 Years of Longing movie that he did after Mad Max Fury Road?
I did. Yes, I did.
I have not.
Is that a telltale sign that it's probably headed in another direction for him now, I guess, at this point in his career? I didn't see it either. So.
Oh, you haven't seen it either? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So it's kind of, he's leaning into kind of Babe Pig in the City kind of vibe, fairy tale, but for adults. It's about like a genie and like a miserable woman who finds a djinn and has all these wishes and then goes on this kind of grand adventure that spans, across eternity.
I like it right as you get to like, it's about a miserable woman. Then Dan just yawns and checks out and leaves.
It's like, it reminded me a lot of, have you ever seen Tarsem Sings The Fall?
That sounds familiar. I feel like
you probably have seen it. It's the same guy who directed The Cell.
Oh, okay.
So he's kind of an interesting visualist, but yeah. Treming says George Miller does a George Lucas and goes back and adds shit like the gyro captain flying around in the background. Yeah, to connect it, you got to bridge these things,
Yeah.
I do really miss the Australian cast, though. I will say, I kind of miss the Australians. Like, they have such a texture and quality to them, just as human beings, that they're just a little off kilter, and it just adds this extra thing to the world of Mad Max. Like, because it feels so authentically Australian, like especially the first two movies.
When you say that Australians have texture to them, do you mean they're tough, leathery skin?
Yeah, actually, kind of a little bit. I was thinking that because I was thinking of the guy in The Road Warrior who's like the leader of the good tribe, and he's like, yeah, his tanned, leathery skin and his sheer white hair. The guy's awesome.
Yeah.
I like that guy for some reason. What are you gonna do, Max? You gonna go out there, just be in the wasteland, or whatever he said? I can't remember the line.
No, that's what he does. Yeah, he's like, "Oh, you lost somebody, didn't he, mate? We've all lost somebody. You think you're special?"
Oh, that's what sets Max off too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why he punches him. Yeah. And he's right though. That guy's right. Okay.
Yeah, and like you said, every time Max tries to run from his responsibility, he fucking takes a digger.
Yeah, he does. That's kind of what happens to his character. Although, I mean, that doesn't really happen here, though.
Well, the whole beginning of the movie is filled with his regrets from that, to the point where, like, when people say, like, oh well, it's saying this isn't Mad Max because he had a baby boy who died, and there's like a 10-year-old girl who's calling him Pa, who he's remembering in this one. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. That girl's from a whole nother off-screen misadventure that Max had.
Yes.
Yeah.
All those people at the beginning that are in his head, like, why weren't you there for us, Max? Those are from off-screen adventures where Max fucking failed and walked away from his responsibility. And that little 10-year-old girl died, and that black Jamaican Rastafari guy, and that other woman with a skull face, they're still in his head, and they're like, why weren't you there for us?
Yeah.
And that leads to him making the decision to actually helping these wives and brides.
I think, actually, honestly, leaving that in a comic book was a mistake. I don't know how they would have worked it out because I think that opening is so perfect. Like, I wouldn't want to touch that. But I feel like if we had that information, it would have helped. And it would have at least enriched his character a little bit because these aren't really characters. They're kind of just like archetypes.
Yeah. And that was confusing to people who need to have a director fucking spoon feed them. I saw a lot.
But that's impossible to know though, unless you were privy to either read these comic books or now because it's so many years later.
Well, no, it's not impossible because I've never read those comics. I'm just inferring from what I see on screen. Like I know that Mad Max didn't have a 10-year-old daughter, but there's this girl calling him Pa. We didn't see it happen on screen. That means that at some point he went on an adventure where a fucking 10-year-old girl died, and it was his fault. How fucking hard is that to put together, audience? No, it means that he's the feral kid because Max had a baby boy and he lost the baby boy. And just fucking think abstractly for 2 seconds. I'm sorry.
But look, there's 20 things we didn't know about the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we didn't know about Mad Max.
That's not Mad Max's son. No relation, no blood relations.
Did you know that the stunt double for Max and Furiosa fell in love and got married? I heard that in one of them. Apparently, Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron fucking hated each other, but their stunt doubles like fell in love and got married.
That's amazing.
Wow.
It's beautiful.
That's the power of love.
It's the power of cinema. Okay?
That's Back to the Future.
Well, man.
Well, guys, it's 12:19 and my alarm goes off in about 3 hours and 40 minutes. So we got to figure out what we're doing here. I've said just about everything I can say. One of the things I was going to say was like, after I said we should do this episode, I was like, shit, do I really want to do that episode? Because like, what hasn't been said about Fury Road? Like we all know, we all get it. It's a masterpiece for X, Y, and Z reasons, and it was hard to make. Like everything's been kind of said about Fury Road, but I felt so deep. I was like, I want to talk about this movie because it's making me feel a certain kind of way.
Sure, of course, and that's the best reason to do something. Who cares? Who cares if everybody's talked about it? And honestly, everybody knows this. If you do something popular that everybody already has an agreed upon opinion and you echo those sentiments, people love that. They do. They love that. Honestly, this will be the most viewed episode of Goes to the Movies Live because it's about a movie that everybody knows and everybody likes.
Yeah.
Oh, you want another classic fucking Goes to the Movies? Boogie Nights. That's a killer episode, dude.
That is a good episode, yeah. Yeah, we put out some bangers. I forget how many we've done. We've done
did a lot. I might just make a playlist and fire those up at work today.
That one, and I really like the Amadeus one too.
Oh, the Amadeus one, that was good. Yeah. Me and Paul had a great time doing that one.
Yeah, sure. Mention when I wasn't on. That's cool. Guys, I don't know if you realize this, but in about 3 hours, the final haulathon drop is going to be announced. It's going online for sale at 9 a.m. Get your Target apps ready.
So that's why he's got his alarm set, everybody.
Yeah, I don't have work tomorrow. I gotta get up for haulathon.
Well,
no, I don't think there's anything. I think I got everything.
Work is relative. Work is relative. This is work.
I gotta get my Jack Kirby.
Goddamn it, I'm not gonna get caught slipping. Okay.
If I pass him up now, then I'll have to pay double for him later when I finally give in.
The collector's dilemma.
But I don't think I'm going to be able to watch the fan film.
That's okay, dude. Oh, if you guys got to go, I'm not gonna be upset about it. I really enjoyed this conversation, though. Honestly, I had a great time talking about it. It was fun.
Same. I almost I thought I was going to gas myself because last night you ever have those nights where you get to bed like too late and then you stress about it and then you don't sleep?
Yep. Actually, it happened to me just the other day.
We caught 2.5, 3 hours of sleep last night because I did that to myself. And I was like, I'm never going to make this episode of Zubak. I was like falling asleep eating dinner. And so that's why I set an alarm. I did bedtime and I just fell asleep next to my kid.
Yeah.
I'm setting an alarm for 9 o'clock and I will see the world again at 9 o'clock. Then I snoozed it a couple times and it was like 9:38. And I was like, bah! Fucking ran. So
Hey man, well I appreciate it because it would not have been the same without you. It really wouldn't have been.
thank you, sir.
No, sincerely, I really enjoyed this conversation. It was just fun to talk about. Sometimes it's just fun to talk about something that like is a known quantity a little bit, and just kind of appreciate it. Not everything that is popular is bad. That's a reflex thing. I think sometimes maybe, I don't know if you guys do. I'll speak for myself. Sometimes I feel like I fall into that trap occasionally, like prejudging something like way before. This is what the YouTube nerdosphere has done to me. Watch too many nerdrotic videos.
With something like Fury Road that gets so across the board acclaim, like very, I think that people start to say negative things about it just because they don't want to say the same thing or
that's
whatever.
True. Yeah, that's true.
Try to stand out,
or they're just tired of hearing like, yeah, okay, Fury Road, we know it's great. We get it.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I think goes to the movies is living proof that like you can have long, hefty conversations about something you really like or love, even.
Of course,
because it's tiresome to always just like rail on and on about movies you don't like or don't. I mean, unless it's, I don't know.
Well, I was struggling to find something original to say about it, and I was like, "Fuck it! I just want to talk about how much I like it."
Yeah.
Great it is.
But that's the we're celebrating movies. I mean, that's the fun of it.
Mm-hmm.
Just because everybody already likes it doesn't mean it's not like whatever.
Yeah. This is a movie for me that will be watched at least a couple times a year for the rest of my life. It's just a fucking perfect cup of tea, man.
Yeah, and now especially that the kids are into it, you'll be watching it quite a bit.
Yes, dude. When my daughter went, I was like, yes.
Yeah, a happy dad moment for sure.
I would love to do a family costume for Halloween where she can be Furiosa and Theo can be Max, and I can be Immortan Joe, and Kaylin can dress up as a sexy bride.
There you go.
Listen, guys, like I said at the end of the latest NECA King video, which, guys, by the way, the NECA King 420 on YouTube and Instagram, sign up, hit the like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, okay?
Give that rumble bump.
Latest one, Zoobox and Flea Pit, they made a man out of me, okay? They made a man out of me.
Let's just play it out there.
Tonight.
I like how I follow all your socials for NECA King 420, and even still, you send us a video like in separate text anyway.
Well, Dan's got.
I was thinking about that today because I was gonna. I thought about that exact thing because that comes from like back when I used to make 1,000 RPM mini podcasts and I would send them around to people. I thought about that because I think one time you commented on a video that I didn't send you, and I thought about that. I was like, you don't actually have to fucking send these links around to everybody.
Well, no, you got to send them.
Make sure that you see my toy.
You gotta send them to me. I need those because I need the reminder. I will just forget.
It's a good reminder actually.
I am so bad. I'm turning into such an old man. I will just forget.
Well, you know what? You guys are on the subscription list. And Trembling Colors is on there too, and I get my 3 thumbs up on every NECA King video, and I know it was worth it. But it is turning into a Zoobox thing, dude. Where like the first couple NECA King videos were just me talking in front of a box of toys, and now I'm like editing shit. I'm like thinking of a thing that I need to edit in, so I gotta chase that clip down and like fucking clip it.
It's fun. It
fun. Is
like doing like those like little videos and stuff. Even when I do like little like CBD reviews and stuff like that. I just have fun, like just kind of fucking around and using effects, and it's just fun. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm having a great time doing it, and unfortunately, what I said in the new video is true. The choo-choo train of toys is fucking slowing down real quick, but I think there's still a lot of milk in the tank for NECA videos. But thank you guys for the conversation tonight, and I will catch the rest of the episode in a few hours when I wake up.
All right, brother. Thank you so much, buddy. I'll see you later. All right, Jeremy. Do you need to go?
Were we still gonna watch just the Furiosa trailer just to kind of snip through it as like a closer?
Yeah, you want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I might have to leave you solo for the short film.
That's okay. No worries, man. No worries at all. because I know we had to start late and stuff tonight, so we're a little behind on that stuff. So yeah, we're gonna take a look at the Furiosa trailer, a Mad Max saga. We're gonna go not the latest one. The latest one's like a shorter one, so we're gonna watch the one that was released like a month ago, the one that we've all seen, we've all enjoyed. Let me see here. Make sure this is on. All right. Here we go. I don't know. How you feeling? Do you have any thoughts before we begin?
We're already at Eve picking the apple right now, or
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. Now we're getting heavy-handed. Now we're
this
Garth
is getting
Marenghi.
a little too much.
Now we're Garth Marenghi now. Yeah.
Furiosa! We've come too far.
I will say this. That looks cool.
Yes.
And now if he's bringing more of the natural world into it too, which is kind of cool, I suppose, because it's like before things have gotten even worse. Mm-hmm. There's still a little bit of like life left in the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
As a child, my world was forever changed.
All right, so how are we feeling? Like legit.
It's feeling less like well, yeah, I mean it's not even in the title anymore. It's feeling a little bit less like a Mad Max movie and more like just a Fury Road sequel or like in universe.
No,
prequels.
it definitely is because aesthetically it's matching it directly, right?
Yeah. So it doesn't like because each Mad Max film up until this point has always had like its own natural sort of weird offbeat tone. I mean, maybe save the first one; it's a little bit more traditional, but
well,
like
the first one's a little more traditional, but the second one it's still natural, but it's a little feels a little bit more like stylized.
Right.
And then Thunderdome, he's off in like almost Fantasyland territory, almost like steampunk, cyberpunk territory in that one. But yeah, I will say this though, the footage so far, I know we haven't seen much, but it doesn't look as bad as I remembered. And I'm thinking because I think it's the final few shots that sticks in everybody's mind that really looks like a cartoon. Mm-hmm. But maybe we'll see. We'll see.
My mother was magnificent. And he took it all from me.
I'm not super stoked about what's his face here.
Hemsworth.
For some reason, like the characters, like the nose. Where is it? Show me his face, dude.
From me.
Also, why make him like Wasteland Thor again? Why you think they would do something a little different?
Well, I think they're trying to it's like trying to reference like Immortan Joe and like Lord Humongous at the same time.
Yeah.
Like trying to like put out that thing with kind of a wild man look to it. Or I mean he's got a big red beard. Goodness gracious. But I mean this is what kind of signaled to me like that this was going to be more cartoony.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be, even though I feel like the material should be pretty dark, it just feels like it's going to be a much lighter movie. And a part of it for me was Chris Hemsworth here when you hear him talk. It's just like very like a caricature. Yeah. Even more so than has ever that has ever been in a Mad Max movie. Even Lord Humongous.
Who do we have here?
She's from a place of abundance. This is our destiny.
My childhood. My mother. I want them back.
Oh, dude, she was in the War Boy gang. She was in the VA gang.
Yeah. You know, I do have this prediction that, you know, with every Hollywood studio project that just gets released and usually has like some of the most infuriating or frustrating or just obnoxious writing, I can see Furiosa, or at least sequels to this, spawn into that, and they'll make an excuse like, well, it's a Mad Max story, so it's supposed to be weird and quirky and
yeah,
and they're not going to be able to use that as an excuse as much, or as like I don't know.
Well, I guess we'll see if audiences embrace Furiosa. We'll see. Because if they don't, I think they'll be done. Because like I said, Fury Road was not like a smash hit.
No.
Trelling says Anya Taylor-Joy was one of the women that got her cheek meat sucked out, but it seems like it came back now, so she doesn't look like a bog ghost from the Two Towers anymore. He also says, why does he look like Captain Nemo from the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen? He kind of does.
Yeah.
You ever see that Stephen Norrington's League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that?
Yeah,
Have you ever seen it?
Was that
Sean Connery.
Sean Connery's last role, right?
Yeah. The Captain Nemo's in it, and he has like that same nose.
My childhood. My mother. I want them back. I want them back.
I don't know. It just seems kind of silly.
Yeah.
I like Anya Taylor-Joy as an actress, but I don't know if she's really right for this. I don't know if she can really sell it. Like Charlize Theron could kind of sell this, like the kind of the grittiness of the character, and she kind of. Well, I mean, I guess maybe it's appropriate. She's young. She's supposed to be the younger Furiosa because it's like a little girl playing a tough person.
Yeah.
But maybe that's part of the character. Maybe that is what it is.
I want them back.
Whatever you have to do, however long it takes, promise you'll find your way home. Protect the green place.
It's time to take what's rightfully ours. Ready?
Yeah, like stuff like that. It's getting a little too cartoonish, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like camp. It's like borderline campy. And it's like almost like a mix between Fury Road and a little Thunderdome in here.
Yeah.
There's something about it. There's just something off. Like I'm having a hard time like articulating because when you look at the images and stuff and the kineticism of it kind of works. Like, I feel like we're going to get another kind of kinetic movie like that, or at least the set pieces will be that way in the same way that Fury Road was.
Yeah.
I feel like that's definitely there. And it looks like they're shooting it in the same way. Something we didn't mention in the review is one of the unique things about the way that they shot the movie was that all the action, everything that your eye is supposed to look at is always in center frame.
Yeah.
And they did that so that they could do a lot of quick editing and you wouldn't like go cross-eyed. And it seems like they're doing a similar thing with this movie. Like where your eye is supposed to be is like dead center of the frame.
Find your way home. Protect the green place.
It's time to take what's rightfully ours. Ready? Steady? Go!
Now, there was a rumor, isn't this allegedly like Mad Max? I don't know if that was true. I thought I read something about that. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Though. You haven't heard anything like that?
I haven't heard anything about. So like they would have gone with a new actor, I guess, again.
Well, they would have had to, because if they recast Charlize Theron, they can't have Tom Hardy then.
That's true.
Because that wouldn't make any sense. Let me see here. Trembling says, I know why they casted her. She has similar big expressive eyes, but she's very petite, where Theron is at least a tall chick. Yeah, that's true. I mean, definitely for sure, because she has such a unique expressive features.
Yeah.
That 100%.
Who's playing Imogen Joe in this?
Oh, I don't know, actually. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Maybe probably some Australian guy, I hope.
Yeah, some sweaty Australian man.
Where are you going? So full of hope. There is no hope.
Oh, an echo of Fury Road. Remember, because Nux is like, hope. There is no hope.
If you find him, he's mine.
Definitely a lot more CGI in this one.
Yes.
Like mixed in with like in a more like prominent way than
Right.
Fury Road for sure. I mean, but it's, you know, I'm not despising this. I have to confess, I am not despising it, and I think it's really just more the trailer itself. It's very kinetic. The music is working pretty well for me. What about you, Jeremy? How are you feeling about it?
I mean, like you, I'm going to see it regardless. I'm just not really jiving with the
Well, maybe that's the right
the
mindset.
tone.
Maybe that's the right mindset. Maybe we'll be like, "Whoa, he did it again!
Yeah.
Wow." Hopefully, maybe
I think we honestly do want to be surprised.
I do.
If it,
Yeah,
if
for
it
sure.
Can, if it can win us over. But
Because like it feels like such a known quantity, like we were talking about during our review. It's like, well, you feel like you kind of know her story already, or know what you need to know, and demystifying her anymore is just a giant mistake, because it kind of takes away from her being one of these kind of mythic characters like Mad Max is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like by demystifying it, just like letting us know too much about it. And also, like so what is she going to do? Have the same like arc in this one that she does in Fury Road?
Yeah.
You know, is the journey going to be the same thing?
Yeah. It's just prequelitis. Like we know her conclusion. We know how her story ends.
Yeah, and I bet you she makes a deal with Immortan Joe
Yeah.
to get Chris Hemsworth's character. That seems like what is going down.
Yeah.
Like they're agreeing both mutually, and that's how they met. It's a nice meet cute moment, you know. I think that's what they call it.
Yeah.
There will always be.
That's so. I wish they didn't do this. Like just like turning her into making her put on the official Furiosa costume. TM. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because now she just looks like she's wearing like a Halloween costume. Because
Yeah,
like,
I'm gonna go as Furiosa for Halloween.
so she looked exactly the same way from now till Fury Road. Is that what we're saying? That's retarded. Like why? Trembling says cameo of Auntie Entity. Oh wait, hold on. Did I miss something here? No, I didn't. Cameo of Auntie Entity. I did not understand the reference, sir.
War, but to get home, Furiosa fought the world.
This shot bothers me more than anything. This is what I think about when I think of Furiosa, is this shot. This is what I think when people are saying, "Oh, it looks like it's like AI generated."
Yeah.
Like a video game. Like this looks like a fucking video game cutscene, right?
Yes.
And I think this is having this image being like the final thing that you're left with. I feel like that is like the problem of the character. Or not the. What did I mean? What the fuck was I saying? Oh, the problem with like the movie, like the way they're selling the movie is like if this is the final image, like it kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth. I honestly, I didn't. While watching this, I wasn't like I said, I kind of wasn't like despising it. I understand like the prequelitis thing for sure, because it definitely is that. It's like kind of corny in that way, like where it's like little cute callbacks to something that hasn't happened yet. But
well, part of it's probably also George Miller's old man brain at this point. Like I'm sure he thinks a lot of this new technology is really cool.
He probably
and fun
does,
to play
yeah.
with.
Yeah. That's actually, maybe this is AI. Is that the new scandal?
Yeah.
We're going to find out. Actually, like a lot of the shots in this movie are AI generated.
And that's how you're going to get more people turning on it.
Trembling says Tina Turner's character from Thunderdome. Ah, thank you, sir. I can't. Well, I don't. You know, I honestly, I was going to rewatch Thunderdome before we did this, but I just ran out of time. But that's not one I go back to very often. I think I've only maybe ever seen it like 3 times.
Yeah.
Maybe I feel like I'm due though. I feel like I'm due.
Remember me.
Do you know what it actually kind of reminds me of? Like a Bollywood action movie, like RRR.
Yeah, yeah. Even in this title and the
way the
background,
music is like
gold.
cha-cha-cha-cha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even kind of the way the movie looks. Yeah. Little Bollywood action, dude.
You bring that up now. That is something I would see as a Bollywood Mad Max.
Actually, yeah. Fuck yeah, I would. I would totally do that. And if you got 4 hours to kill. Hope you like musicals.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man. I definitely warmed up to it a little bit. I will admit. I sense that is not the case with yourself.
Probably not as much, but I'll go see it. I mean, I'll be there opening night.
Yeah, but I
alone.
am a sick fuck.
Yeah. Watching with my arms crossed the whole time.
Yeah. Oh, I bet you think you're so tough, don't you, Anna Taylor-Joy?
Not in my Mad Max.
Tough?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where's my Mad Max movie?
Yeah.
Get out of here. Trembling says, I loved that one as a kid, but as I grew up, I could see the flaws, but I still like it more than most people. Oh, I don't hate Thunderdome at all. Like, I appreciate it for what it is. It's got a really cool look to it. It's got its own vibe. It's just you have to go into it accepting it for what it is rather than what you thought it should be.
I will say Thunderdome is sometimes the one that stands out the most in terms of it not ever fully resonating with me the way the other ones do. And I think part of that is like anytime I go back to it, I always forget scenes or things that happen, and I'm like, oh yeah, that
I always
was a
forget
thing,
what it's
or-
about. Yeah,
Yeah,
like I don't. It's just like this vague visual pastiche in my mind.
Right.
You know.
Um.
But I think it's because the movie itself is broader and vaguer, and it's more like meandering, and it's really just kind of more about the world and the people that inhabit it, rather than like being about a specific task or something he's trying to accomplish or achieve. So it just, just not as memorable. But I give credit where credit's due. Like he didn't rest on his laurels. He wasn't like, well, we're just gonna go do another one. Like now that we know what we're doing. Yep. He's constantly, as a director, is constantly challenging himself. So that's like why even something like Furiosa, like I kind of root for him. I'm rooting for the movie, even though I have my apprehensions about it. And while I've warmed up to it a little bit, I want to say that it's like I'm still not going to be running to the theater to see it probably.
Sure.
But I want it to be good. Like just specifically because I like George Miller. Like I just want him to do it again. Please, like maybe I'll just be so pleasantly surprised by the final product.
Well, and I didn't make a real proper closing statement on Fury Road, but I think one thing that I also really love about that, as I do with the other Mad Max entries, is just the unpredictable nature of it all, and the writing and the performances and just the little quirks. It's always doing something a little bit different and original that I'm just not expecting. I don't know like what a character is, how they're gonna respond to like let's say like a Furiosa type like hightailing it across the sand. Like what are they gonna do?
No, I'm sorry.
No, so every time it's just like you. Even now, like going back, like there's always just like a new thing I discover.
No, it's because it's so layered. There's so much attention to detail on every aspect of its design that every time you watch it, you'll probably see like 2 or 3 things that you didn't notice before. And it's and I think that's kind of why it maybe stands the test of time, right?
Right.
Like it does. I will say this: that movie does feel fairly timeless. I mean, maybe the only thing that dates Fury Road is that when they found out it was going to be in 3D, they inserted like shots of like CGI viscera going straight at the camera. That's probably the only thing that really dates it, but it feels like it has a timeless quality in the same way that the other Mad Max movies do. Like those other Mad Max movies just feel like, maybe the first one feels like a dated movie from the 70s just because of the style of the cars and stuff. But the Road Warriors feels timeless. Like it feels like it could be, that movie could have came out 2 years ago. Like it's that like well realized.
Yeah.
and that well. Like, it's just a very thoughtful movie, even though they're like kind of like these crazy action movies and the stunts and everything. They're also fairly thoughtful about their hero and their hero's journeys.
Yeah. And the beauty of Fury Road as well, I guess the reason why I was able to get people I knew into it, like who had never heard of or watched anything Mad Max related, is that you can still watch it on its own and you'll follow along just fine. You don't need to see the other three to inform it at all. It's and
that's kind of
very
true.
Contained.
It's kind of true with all of them, I would say. I
Yep.
mean, to one degree or another. Like, you could watch The Road Warrior not having seen the first one.
Yeah.
And especially because they do like that. They basically give you a recap. Thunderdome. I mean, you could just watch that as a cool, like, steampunk, cyberpunk, weird, post-apocalyptic movie.
Yep.
Trumping says, the middle sags big time. I think he's talking about Thunderdome. He says, I assume that off-screen the other brides try and stone to death the one of them that gave herself up to Rictus. But yeah, man. Well, I know you got to go.
Yeah, it's getting late for me, but thanks for having me come by and go down memory lane to 2015.
2015. It feels like 100 years ago.
Yeah,
it feels like a different planet.
It means I'm getting old,
exactly.
and I'm not even at that age.
Yeah, you're not old yet. You're good.
Yeah,
you got like 4 more years before you start feeling kind of old. Although you take care of yourself, you're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
But all right, buddy. I will talk to you later, and we'll figure out what we're gonna do next time. So
sounds good. All right, take it easy.
Adios. All right, everybody. Now that it's just us girls, we're gonna end the show with a Mad Max fan film. This just came out 4 days ago. It's called Hope and Glory, produced by Brightstone Pictures. It says here, what does it say here? It says, Mad Max returns in Hope and Glory. In exchange for gasoline, Max takes on a dangerous rescue mission. Oh, man, that guy's always doing dangerous stuff for gasoline. He's always doing that, man. Do. Here we go. Okay. Trembling says, pre-2020 is a different world. Dude, you're right, brother. It's fucking... Seriously, it really does. It feels like 100 years ago. It feels like something in it from a history book. It's crazy out there. All right, well, let's get this show on the road here. We'll just have a nice chill end of the show here. Just watch some movies together. I think we're all good friends.
So what you're saying is that the oil prices will continue to increase?
They will explode. And there's nothing we can do about it. No electricity from major cities mark a new turning point. The cabinet is preparing for rationing.
This is kind of like what they do in the beginning of Fury Road. They talk about how the world got destroyed.
Violent protests turn cities into battlefields.
Depletion of vital resources.
The attacks are getting more and more vicious. As oil and water panic
Irreversible
arises, spiraling into chaos in the streets.
This is the last broadcast.
Good luck to all of us. The world as we know it does not exist anymore.
Oh, shit.
Society fell apart. Governments broke down. And mankind.
Respect for doing an Australian accent, sir. You are a king, whoever you are.
Lost its humanity. Dangerous groups were born out of this chaos. Tribes were formed, fighting each other for another day under the scorching sun.
Oh, shit.
Every time I fall asleep, I'm afraid to see their faces. Every time I wake up, I fear to have forgotten them once and for all.
These people are like Neil Breen. They know if you just go out to the desert, you can get tons of production value out of that. You got a drone in a desert, buddy. Production value. Trembling says Mad Max on a quest for Dinky D dog food. What you doing, Max? Nice. Actually, you know what this kind of reminds me? It reminds me of the video game. The Mad Max 2015 video game, which we neglected to talk about during that review. We're fucking fools. That video game kind of rules. I love that video game. It's like a classic, too many things to do, open world game, but it is so much fun tearing through the fucking desert. Oops. Trembling says, Durian Rider as a war boy that instead of chrome spray paint uses canned whipped cream keeps coming to mind. Yeah, he's got to get that sugar, mate. This is pure sugar right here. Trembling says, that video game was cool, but for some odd reason it had no motorcycles. Yeah, that's true. You know, I never thought about that. I mean, it's a very tedious video game, but I just like loved being in the world. Actually, that's from the video game. This whole sequence here, I guess he lives inside the boat. That's from the video game. I just really enjoyed being in the world, so I kind of embraced all of the busy work and shit. I think I platinumed it.
I'll break every single one of your fingers if you don't let me drive to the Citadel. Your days working for Immortan will be counted.
You are Black Farm, not a Rapper. I will end your half-life right here and now, bitch!
Yes, and nobody will be your witness. You will be forgotten. You poor schlingers would not have found the Milker without me. I should.
So we have all different accents here. This guy sounded like kind of French. This guy sounds Australian. This guy sounds Namibian, maybe. I don't know.
Drive.
Let's show our little brother what it means to question the order of fear!
Not bad for like a fan film, amateurish, or amateurs rather. Sorry, not amateurish. It's shot very well, very kinetic. I mean, for all the cuts there, the fight wasn't confusing at all. I'm not sure how I feel about red curly hair Mad Max, or is that just blood? Maybe it's just blood.
You're a pretty good warrior.
There's another different accent. Is that a Irish accent?
Can you cut me free? Hey? Hey! Can you cut me? No. You need gasoline, right?
Who doesn't, sister?
Listen, I can get you gasoline. Lots of it, actually.
Where?
I can show you.
This is really tough because Max is an incel now. He doesn't like being around girls.
Don't waste time.
Trelling says, yeah, the fight scene wasn't the Paul Greengrass or Power Ranger style a lot of fan films do. Yeah, because it's easier to do that. It's just easier to cut that up. You don't have to choreograph as well. You don't have to be as tight.
Can you please untie me? I need to give him a sign.
It's like the doors opening to the Emerald City in Wizard of Oz. Actually, that was kind of a cool shot. I think that's a matte painting. Pretty sure that's a matte. That's like none of this, all this stuff isn't actually here. That's cool. It worked for a second there. Trelling says, man, thinking about Theron not doing an Australian accent, she could have just done her natural South African one and it would have worked the same. I agree. Like, add some texture to the movie a little bit.
Who do we have here?
She promised me gasoline if I brought her here.
She has nothing to say here, especially concerning our fuel depot. But I must admit, your car is very nice.
This guy's a little fucking silly.
Oh, he's a crazy one, Uncle. Cuckoo.
No. Please allow me.
It's like if Perez Hilton was like the leader of the tribe here.
To speak. Jeremiah and I, we were out there looking for my daughter, and we got attacked. And he didn't make it. And I wouldn't be alive either if it weren't for him. He killed 3 war boys with his bare hands, and I think he can help us.
Oh, really?
Yes, he's a killing machine.
Warrior, driver, killer. What should we call you? Either way, you need gasoline.
Oh, good call. Good call, Trembling. This guy's reminding me of the penguin from the show Gotham. Yeah.
Buzzing around the area. If you are as strong and beef as she claims, then you can go get the head of the buzzard's top dog. With that trophy on the hood of my uncle's car, they'll all flee like cockroaches. If you do that, we can talk.
I need gasoline.
Gasoline. If that's it, then
I wish this was played by Joe Pesci. Like Joe Pesci, 1994.
we have a deal.
Right.
Come on, Uncle.
The driver. Good to have you here. Come take a look at this map. I created it over the years by collecting information from our scouts. It shows all the interesting places in the wasteland that are of importance.
Right. Buzzards, where?
here. They hide underground from the sunlight. It's a 2-day trip with one of our vehicles. But your V8 should do it in half a day. Please don't take my map. What's wrong with you?
So rude.
What the fuck? Thanks.
Please, wait.
I can appreciate that he was trying to they were trying to approximate some sort of like George Miller lightness there, like a nice little funny moment. Trellick says, this guy loves living with all this smelly rough trade. What the fuck? This guy is from a fantasy movie. Laugh out loud. Wasteland Wizard.
You need to help me.
Why should I?
My daughter, she was taken by the buzzards. Let me go with you. Together we can find her. She is everything I got.
No. You get yourself killed. Who looks after your daughter then? Maybe I'll look, but I promise you nothing.
Thank you. Give this to her. She'll recognize him. Let her know.
I think this is like a plot line from the video game.
Please.
There's something very similar to this in the video game, if memory serves me correct.
Glory.
Hope and glory.
Thank you.
They did a great job with the cinematography. Like, the movie has a real look to it. You know, they're kind of leaning a little Fury Road-ish, but it also kind of has like a unique identity. It kind of is kind of splitting the difference between like Road Warrior and Fury Road. I'm sure that's kind of a practical consideration considering, you know, low budget. But that's pretty cool. I think they're kind of pulling it off to one degree or another as a fan film, right? Trelling says, I always love those swamp stilt people from Fury Road. Reminds me of some Bloodborne shit. It's better we only got a glimpse of them, though. I agree. But they are very cool. And Bloodborne, that's a good call. Like, this looks kind of pretty fucking good, dude. Really great lighting, great set dressing. They did a really good job.
Why didn't you save me?
Actually, that's interesting because this is kind of thematically what Dan was talking about when he was talking about the little girl that you see get run over, and that it's, obviously not his son. It's a different adventure that off screen. It's the thing that motivates him to do the right thing in some respects because he's so haunted. So they kind of tying that in here too thematically. That's I'm not. This is not bad. This probably might be the best fan film I've ever seen. Trelling says, I think that was a Fist of the North Star reference right there. Nice. The ship through the side of a building. I don't know. I've watched it, but it's been a long, long time since I've watched the Fist of the North Star.
Glory.
Mommy? Don't you want to hurt me?
Trelling says, well, Shaun, this is the death of Batman. Listen, when you're right, you're right. I stand corrected. What if he gets raped? If he gets raped in this movie, then it's better than that one. Our hero needs to get raped.
Come on.
Mr. Pets.
I'll pull you up. You get the bat. Now.
This girl seems kind of naive considering the situation she's in. That's all I'm saying. What's your options, lady? Might as well take a chance with the Road Warrior. He's like, what the fuck? Have you ever heard of Furiosa?
Run.
Nice. It's almost like an Indiana Jones moment, He just shoots the guy instead of fucking around with the whip.
I'll take you back to your mom. I promise. Hey. Wait here.
See, I don't know about this. Now, this is too sentimental for Mad Max. This is some of the best like practical action I've ever seen in a fan film. Like this is kind of impressive. It's impressively shot, impressively choreographed. It's fun. Trumping says, I love that the shotgun fizzles out in Fury Road. There always needs to be a handicap for why he can't use the shotgun, I think. Only one shell in Road Warrior, etc. Yeah, I think so. This young girl reminds me of my good friend, Furiosa. You know, the only thing they're kind of doing bad is this melodrama. It does feel a little out of place. That's when it kind of starts feeling a little bit more like it's a TV show.
You okay?
You know, it's like the pilot for a TV show, and it was shot in Canada. See, this one is better. This one is better. This is much more Mad Max. That moment, instead of kind of lingering on it and having some sort of cringy dialogue, just this kind of pained silence.
No way. He made it. He's back. The driver's coming back.
What is it?
My king, the driver is back, and the girl's with him.
Coming. Just a driver.
Trembling says, yeah, this will be what Max is like when other people do the movies. Yeah, exactly. Oh, he's got to be so softer, more overtly heroic.
Glory! Oh my God! I'm so happy. Are you okay? Yes, I'm all right, Mama. Oh my God!
Oh my God! Gasoline! Just gotta give him some gasoline. He'll be good.
Hey, what happened? Hey. Shit. Okay, no. You stay awake. Thanks. Here, drink.
Giving him the good stuff, dude? Life-giving water? Don't get addicted to that, Max.
Hey. We'll come back.
It's like, did you look at my wiener?
So, you are alive.
He's like, I did.
Would have been a shame if you left us now. You must have real luck making it in the wasteland.
Tronic says this must be the girl in the flashbacks, I guess. One of the comics deals with that story too. Yeah. It's probably,
But before we refuel your car,
kind of referencing
my
it.
uncle would like to make you one more offer. You can have what you need here. Food, weapons, company, and a home.
Somewhere where you belong.
Company, that's too vague. He's probably talking about himself, dude. This guy's a creeper. Oh, don't worry about him. He just gets pissy around this time of day. Now I feel like we're like a little bit more in. Feels very fan filmish, but the action's been pretty good though, and it's shot well. I'll give it that. I like the production design. It does a lot of stuff right.
Had a good sleep? I suppose you didn't change your mind. So unfortunate. My uncle had them put a few extra canisters in your trunk. Should be enough.
Hey.
She just runs up and calls him dad. He's like, oh, get away from me. Tronic says a good idea for a movie streams might be some of the shitty Italian Mad Max knockoffs from the 80s. A lot of them are available online. Dude, I am 100% down to do that. 1,000%.
I want to say goodbye, but I don't know to whom.
Do I say goodbye to Papa or Mad Max?
Max. My name's Max.
So now, if this was a real, authentic Mad Max experience, something bad should happen to him right now. He's trying to leave. What could have been, fella? What could have been? just can't turn my back on him. It ain't right. It ain't right, bro. Starts thinking about the last time he had sex with a woman. He's like, I gotta go back. Fuck. Trelling says Max really is MGTOW. He never goes for it with any women since the first one. Also, I should remark, nice piece of music. Nice piece of music there. Yikes. That's gonna be a big yikes from me, dog. Is when keeping it real goes wrong. Trelling says he can't actually get it up unless the girl plays saxophone for him, and there ain't been one like that since his wife. Well, she was 1 in a million, pal. Actually, more like 1 in a trillion. 1 in a cajillion in the wasteland.
Is she fine?
Yeah, she'll be all right, mate. She'll be all right.
Mr. Beth. Where is Mr. Beth?
We'll find him. We'll find him.
You know, dude, that little girl brought it. She brought it there. She brought it. They found the right balance.
Are we going now?
This dude literally slept through the whole thing. How embarrassing. Fuck yeah, dude. Yeah, they're nailing this. Trembling says now it's first movie max. Yeah, a little bit. Fucking great sequence. Fucking great sequence. Based.
Could I have found peace with them?
Full MGTOW.
I will never know. All I found was a full tank. More pain. And madness.
Well, there you go. Damn. That was not half bad. That was not half bad. Oh, yeah, it was. It was based on that graphic novel. It said it right there. Yeah, but that was really... I thought that was pretty well done, man. No really major complaints. Most of my stuff was just kind of nitpicky, you know, bad acting stuff. But it's not consistently bad, so... It was more just kind of the way they dealt with some of the melodrama. I don't think that worked very well, but... Dude, I mean, that last sequence was pretty fucking rad. Pretty rad. Trembling says, throw that shit in the fire like it's a dinosaur books, Big Bear. Oh, man. I don't know. I'm impressed with the level of the production, I suppose, more than anything else. And there's a few, like, really sincerely good sequences. The action's, like, varied, well choreographed, inventive, using the environment. Good stuff. Good stuff. I would recommend. I mean, as far as fan films go, I'm struggling to think of something that I think would be better than this. Now, I'm not the most, like, learned scholar when it comes to fan films. I don't watch many of them. But from what I've seen, this is pretty high up there. Pretty high up there. I've seen a lot of the Batman ones, but they're all like, they're all just like Batman versus the Joker, psychological games, etc., etc. Some of them have decent production values, but nothing to the degree that this did. And they actually did some sincerely cool stuff. There's a few cool stunts in this movie as well. Trembling says, it wouldn't surprise me to find out this was made by stunt guys. Yeah, it definitely has that vibe to it. 100%. I don't know, man. I don't know if there's any... Is there an interview or something? Let's see here. Hope and Glory. Mad Max interview. Full movie. Mad Max fan film. Production trailer. Oh, wow. They've been working on this for a while. They have stuff on their YouTube page going all the way back like 2 years ago. Hold on here. Maybe we'll learn something.
Adrian was building his very own interceptor. I was curious.
I first started to think about this project 3 years ago. With this movie, we want to honor what came before.
From the get-go, we hit it off with...
I was not expecting these guys. I wasn't expecting a couple of fucking nerds. I thought we were going to get like Rictus Erectus type guys.
Story ideas and develop the script.
I would say the Interceptor was the initial spark, igniting the fire, and everyone getting involved.
This character's been played by phenomenal actors before, so why touch him?
But I just had to.
I think you shouldn't, unless you put your own spin on him.
In the tradition of Mad Max Fury Road, we played out the film in its first iteration as an extended storyboard.
It was so exciting to see how the story came to life this way.
Over 500 panels gave us the opportunity to play out the story and plan the movie shot by shot. Based on these boards, we were able to develop character moments and action scenes even further.
That's exciting stuff.
We're scouting spectacular locations. The cave.
You know who would be a good director for a Mad Max movie if it wasn't George Miller? It would be Neveldine and Taylor, the guys who did the Crank movies. If George Miller were to not come back and do Mad Max, or he passes away or something like that, Neveldine and Taylor, I think, could do it. They could maybe come to the closest. I would like, now that I'm thinking about it, I would totally watch a Neveldine Taylor Mad Max movie. Traffic says the Swedish chefs when I thought it would be Durian Ryder's cousins.
The buzzards hole, the quarry, the hangar.
The amount of detail going into building this world, the set design, the costumes, the props, the special makeup effects.
It's gonna be huge.
We want to present you an experience that stands on its own,
but also plays well in the context of the 4 official Mad Max films that came before.
And not copying what's been done before.
Everyone in this crew is working on all cylinders to create something special.
The energy and the motivation all the crew members put into this project, it's just incredible. It's amazing.
Be part of the making of this unique film.
It's gonna be mad.
Hope and Glory, a Mad Max short film. I wonder what else they got. If they have any more like detailed stuff? Not really. No, they had that production trailer 2 years ago, teaser 8 months ago, official trailer, and then the movie. Yeah, that's it. That's unfortunate. I would be totally interested in hearing more about the production of the film. I don't know. What are their names? What are your names? What are your names, sirs? No, that's not. I don't know. I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing anything. Oh, well. Well, maybe next time. Maybe next time we'll look into it or something. But yeah, that was fun, guys. That was a good stream. Thanks, everybody, for sticking in there and hanging out. Apologies for the late start. I'll be back Tuesday for Nightcap. And then Thursday, we're going to do a watch-along. We're going to watch something. Maybe we'll watch some of those Italian knockoff Mad Max movies. That might be fun. Get like 2 good ones. That might be a thing. Trembling says, that would be cool if you went streaming, as it probably will be the stunt guy that made those Extraction movies. Could be decent, but I'm sure whoever does it will be overly CGI. Yeah, I mean, more and more they skew away from any type of practical stuff. I'm sure, there's a lot of practical considerations for that. Money-wise, insurance, etc. But there's still some people out there doing stuff. I mean, like even Tom Cruise, he's a weirdo. But if the Mission Impossible movies do anything, is that they're kind of keeping the spirit of kind of big, bombastic, practical stunts alive. And I can appreciate that for sure. But yeah, it's kind of less and less a thing. I feel like maybe it will kind of revert to being more of an indie thing. You know, kind of like back in the 60s and 70s. Doing like, you know, kind of those exploitation, cheapy action car chase movies and stuff like that. Where kind of a lot of the stuff was pioneered, that was used throughout Hollywood, kind of through its more, I don't know, not golden era, but like the 80s and 90s. Like all that stuff those guys did back in the day, like informed everything that came before it. And it's how it was done for like 30 or 40 years, you know? It's pretty cool. But anyways, all right, guys, I will see you next time. Have a good weekend. I got to get some sleep.